making series Nepal version. We are really glad to have all of your warm presence in this event. Rainmaking series Nepal is a part of a global rainmaking series, which is organized by Good City Foundation, and that is supported by Invest Hong Kong, TwoSpark, and uh, other supporters from all around the world. So, in this rainmaking series, Nepal, what we are trying to do is focus on how robotics and AI development can be make more impactful here in Nepal. And that theme is robotics and AI in the world of digitization, digital Nepal. So you can see like where we are trying to go ahead. And for this session, we have divided it into 4 different parts. The first one is guest speaker sessions. So our honorable chief guest and event chair will share about their remarks on how Nepal government is focusing on developing robotics and AI in Nepal. And we have second session, that is keynote speaker session. So we have Princess Alia, who will be joining us as a keynote speaker. And we have Mangesh Lal Srestha, who will be also joining us as a keynote. And then we have Mr. Benson Tam, who will be also joining us as a keynote. And then we will have a panelist session where we will be discussing about a tech for tomorrow, Nepal's preparation in the era of robotics and AI. So for that, we have Parag Srestha from Fuse Machines as a panelist, Gita Basial, mechanical engineer, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology as a panelist. And then there is a side change in the final panelist, Deepak Bista, who is also the president of RAN Far West, will be joining us as a panelist. Brigadier General Suresh Bania sir could not make it today, though we tried our best. He has some CCMC work that he needs to do. So that will be followed by presenter session. That is a pitching session where we have investors group who will be working together with us in promoting these innovators. And the session is Tech for tomorrow, Tech for Good Cities Roadshow, investment for innovators. And at the end of the session, we will have a private meeting where we will be discussing about different tools and technologies that are being developed here in Nepal through our team who have joined here. So without further delay, I would like to start this program with the welcome remarks from our event chair, Ganesh Saha sir, Honorable Ganesh Saha sir, who is a former Minister of Ministry of Science, Technology and Environment. So Ganesh Saha sir, over to you for your warm remarks. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Vikasji. It's a great pleasure that this rainmaking is organizing this program. So I think all of you know that the last year, under the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, we started on the COVID, a high-level committee, and there was a group known as the TDI, Technology Development and Innovation. And I am very glad and to congratulate Dr. Sunil Babu Srestha, who is the Vice Chancellor of the NAST, sorry, on making so many innovations in this for the COVID. And recently, especially when there's a big scarcity of the oxygen cylinder in Nepal, we have developed this cylinder making testing, and now I think Nepal can not only manufacture but export these cylinders to the other countries also. We have developed two other things like robotics. You see, with the Robotics Association has developed to this Institute of the Nurse in the so many hospitals. And there is other innovations which are going under the NAST. So I, first of all, on this occasion, like to congratulate Apex Buddy to the NAST, not only the NAST, and the others young innovations people who are working in the whole team is working on the different innovation sectors. So this is first, this is my congratulatory. And as we know that post-COVID, there will be a lot of others innovation required, especially the new emerging technologies, and especially what we call it the AI. So in the recent years, how the AI going to develop, I think Nepal is to build the ecosystem for the AI development, educational courses, and other things, you see. So I think these talks will certainly help in making the whole ecosystem for the AI development and the use of the AI in the different areas. So with these few words, I again welcome everybody for this in this program. And thank you, Robotics Association, for giving me the opportunity to share this session. So thank you very much. Welcome to everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care. Go ahead. Because you
Thank you
go
so
ahead.
much, Event Chair Honorable Ganesh sir, for your warm welcome and remarks to all our audience and the panelists join over here. This has been a really motivational for us because Ganesh sir has been there all around to the tech community and helping young tech community leaders like us to progress forward because for any community leaders, it's not possible to do high level works without the support from political and government people like Ganesh sir, who has been helping us a lot since the day one. So thank you, sir, for your warm events here remarks. And then now I would like to go to our chief guest for today, Dr. Sunil Babu Shrestha, sir, who is a Vice Chancellor at Nepal Academy of Science and Technology. Dr. Sunil, sir, please have your wonderful remarks today.
Thank you so much, Engineer Vikas Gurungji, Chair of this event, respected former Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, and Goodwill Ambassador of NAST, Engineer Ganesh Saha, distinguished speakers, distinguished experts, and the participants, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you all very warm greetings from Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, NAST. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, Robotics Association of Nepal and the Good City Foundation for the invitation to me as a chief guest to participate in this important rainmaking series, and also providing me this opportunity to say a few words. As an urban planner, it is my great pleasure to know that the Robotics Association of Nepal and Good City Foundation, along with other partners, are organizing the various talks in the topic for the better urban resilience. In this context, today we all are here in this virtual platform to know, understand, and discuss about the topic, the robotics and AI in the whole of digitization, digital Nepal. I believe that this event will add the values to make our places smarter and more efficient, facilitating the people towards the better life. I hope that this will provide an ample opportunity for the participants, experts, and stakeholders to discourse about the robot and AI in the context of digital Nepal. And I am confident that the experts' view and the international experiences shared in today's discussion will be helpful for bringing out the implementable resolutions to make our country more robust in terms of digital Nepal. NAS being the apex body of the promotion of research in science and technology of Nepal, I would like to congratulate the organizers for conducting such a valuable talk series and wish for the every success. In this virtual platform, I have seen the keynote speakers, and the experts of this field. In the technical session, you all discussed the interactively in the subject matter. I do not have much to tell about this subject matter. However, what I desire to mention here is that we all know that the urbanization is an inevitable process and happening at a rapid speed. So we must learn to live in this urban dominated world where the digitization is following the urban pace. But being a planner, I would like to emphasize for rethinking towards the holistic approach of intelligent planning of this rapidly urbanizing world and requires to introduce the smart technologies for converting our cities and the whole society into digital, safer, and sustainable one. COVID-19 pandemic has also demanded us not only to use the robot and the AI, but also directed to move towards the massive digitization. In this global digital phenomena, big data management is becoming another challenge for us. More and more demand of robots and the AI is obvious. I personally believe that the research and innovation on the application of the robot and the AI has been emerging and the essential field. Therefore, in this context, the topic of this today's event is highly relevant, and I'm extremely delighted to see the most of the national and international speakers in this event are highly experienced. I'm sure this will provide an ample opportunity to exchange the expertise and the knowledge among the speakers and participants. I hope the young participants from Nepal in this event will be further motivated to pursue their career in this field. This event itself is organizing with the international collaboration, which is a kind of science diplomacy. The national STI policy of Nepal that come into force from 2019 has also highlighted the need of enhancing the international collaborations through science diplomacy. In our bilateral or multilateral international dialogues for the development partners, instead of asking the support for infrastructure development, I think it is equally important we should also emphasize on the soft scientific capacity building and the research and development. NAS is advocating the promoting the science diplomacy, focusing on the international collaborations in scientific research and development. In this context, I also appreciate the organizers for the initiation of this event. Nepal Academy of Science and Technology, which is the apex institution of the science, technology, and innovation in Nepal, mandate for our academy ranges from the science popularizations to the innovative research for the common cause of social transformations and the overall prosperity. In recent years, NAST has also been carrying out its best to digitalize within the NAST itself for moving towards the smart NAST guided with its master document. During the COVID pandemic, NAST has established the Center for Innovation for Prosperity to fight against the pandemic and to drive the country towards the prosperity. NAST has also provided the research and innovation grants for our young innovators for combating the COVID and the prosperity projects. Some of the awarded projects are also related with the robot and the AI. Hospital service robots, dead body carrying robo-vans, disinfection robots are some of the innovative products of the grant provided by the NAST. NAST in-house itself developed the humanoid robot called the Antrika for its service at the receptions to distribute the masks and sanitizer and provide the information to the visitors about the NAST. I'm glad to share here that the STI policy of Nepal has also recognized the cutting-edge technologies like the artificial intelligence and the information technologies as the national priorities areas for the research and development. Following the policy, NAS has been doing and supporting the different research, innovation, and promotion activities in the field that support for the pillars of digital Nepal. Based on the resource available, we have been providing the research grant for the master and PhD students. We accept the more research proposal in the field of AI and the robot, smart cities, and the GIS application for the decision support system in the days to come. NAST has also established the National Innovation Digital Network in collaboration with the RAN and others for providing the networking platforms among the innovators of Nepal. Since the last year, we have taken the policy to do the collaborative research and development works, including the STI promotion with the government institutions, private sectors, non-government institutions, professional societies, and the development partners. We are also happy to welcome the such research proposals related to the robot and AI in the coming days. NAST has recently discussed with the Robotics Association of Nepal for establishing the AI and the robotic hubs at NAST for the development of this sector. And I am very much hopeful that we will be able to initiate this with the collaborative approach in near future. And this will be an attractive part of the proposed science city at NAST. Ever since I have joined the NASA as its Vice Chancellor, I have been emphasizing on the collaboration with the different professional societies, research and academic institutions for any initiative that ensures the science for society and innovation for prosperity. NAST has always been supportive to the innovative ideas and the programs of individuals or the institutions. I will be happy to collaborate with the Robotics Association of Nepal, Good City Foundation. If any potential area of collaboration is identified in future, I, on the behalf of NAST, promise you to be together with you in your future endeavors. Once again, I thank the organizers and the rest of you who participate in this program and listen to me. And I wish the every success of this event. As you all know that we are also struggling against the COVID-19 pandemic. So during this difficult time, I wish the every one of you to be safe and happy days ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor sir, for your wonderful remarks. Since your tenure at NAST, we have seen lots of changes on technology, and we have seen also NAST distributing grants to innovators, supporting innovators in this difficult time as well. And this support has been really crucial for robotics and AI community as well. As you have already mentioned, what are the robotics product that the grantees are already working on. And definitely, as you also said, like the hub we are planning, it's something that can also help robotics and AI community for the development. And I'm really glad that robotics and AI is also now the priority of Nepal Academy of Science and Technology. It's an apex body. So having apex body, this kind of priority says, hey, Nepal is also going on a direction where Nepal would be able to compete against the other countries as well. And I think this is the right time because all countries are trying to get themselves ahead, but we are on the same level. We are on the same start point. So that start point, we can also be on the top. So I hope with NAS support, robotics and AI community will be able to uplift themselves and grow themselves up. Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful remarks. So with this guest speaker session, I would like to move on to keynote speaker session. We have 3 different keynote speakers for today. And one of the most remarkable keynote speaker for today is Princess Alia Pandolfi, who is a CEO at Kashmir World Foundation. And I really love what Kashmir World Foundation is doing for the world. It's about how technology can be impactful, how we can save lives, how it can help create a better world. And Kashmir World Foundation is also planning to visit Nepal soon. So I would like to request Princess Alia to share from herself what robotics and AI means to her, what drones mean to her, and what she is planning in the days to come, and how this could be beneficial for Nepal as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bekesh. I'm honored to be here today and excited to have the opportunity to be around other people, not just in Nepal, but others that you guys are collaborating with around the world to bring AI and robotics to Nepal. And I was actually really happy to hear Dr. Sunil just speak earlier about his vision and the vision for NEST. So hopefully I'll have an opportunity to work with Dr. Sunil and students at NEST to move forward with what we're doing, but also help bring some knowledge in that has not been brought to Nepal, or awareness to Nepal that hasn't been there before. So thank you again for inviting me for this session, and I'm happy to be here. So I just want to start by saying that there is a technology revolution underway in which artificial intelligence and robotic systems will take on many roles of people and do the job faster, more efficiently, and more effectively. There will be fundamental changes in the global competition for military and economic dominance. Those nations that compete more effectively in AI and robotics will ascend, and those who fail this revolution will descend. The next war will be fought and won by nations that lead the world in AI and robotics, and the same will be true for global economies. AI machines will not replace people, but change the types of skills needed to be effective. Boots on the ground soldiers and repetitive step factory workers will no longer be of much value, but mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, computer scientists, robotic systems designers. An educated workforce will be needed and necessary to design and develop, operate, and maintain these sophisticated systems. So the good news is, Bikesh, as you said, the playing field is level. There are opportunities for Nepal to embrace and excel in this technological revolution. Unlike previous technology revolutions, the robotics and AI revolution is accessible worldwide via open source and global collaboration, not hidden behind national and industrial secrets like in the past. In 1985, China's revolutionary leader Deng Xiaoping stated, "We need to build the world's best education system." And here's the important part: encourage our scientists and engineers to embrace the world through global collaboration. 36 years later, we can all see China's success in technological modernization. And I believe Nepal can do the same. Just as Dr. Sunil had just mentioned, I didn't know, but in 2019, Nepal has implemented the importance of collaboration. It's not just the education, but it's able to reach out to people around the world who will bring new ideas, new perspectives to the people of Nepal. Some people will leave Nepal, get an education, come back and train and teach and educate the future generation. Others might stay in other places, but then eventually come back to Nepal and give back the future to Nepal. So I think it's important to embrace this collaboration. And that's why in 2015, when one of my interns suggested we expand our global partnership into Nepal, I was absolutely thrilled. And I'd like to say that it was the support of Mr. Kapil Rajami that began this journey for KWF in Nepal. We worked with students and teachers at Kenjaroa High School and to help them understand drones, the importance of real world applications, not just building drones. There are lots of drones out there, but our goal was to really instill into the students, well, what are drones used for? Don't just look at drones as just something that flies, but applications that can make life easier for people living in Nepal and help facilitate a variety of different opportunities. And I remember that there was actually even an opportunity for Robotics Association of Nepal to help the students and teachers during a drone building workshop that we were trying to do, also for teachers to take flight. So I'm thankful that you guys have been involved with some of the work that we've done in Nepal as well. One important lesson I learned about students in Nepal is that they're motivated, they're willing to work hard, and learn to design and develop drone applications that can actually change the future of Nepal. This year, we embarked on a broad multi-year collaboration in a joint effort to develop the world's most advanced high-altitude robotic system for wildlife conservation in the Himalayas. The focus of our work in Nepal is cooperative development of an unmanned aerial system we call Eagle Ray. The mission will be to patrol the Himalayas, collecting critical data on snow leopards and other endangered species, their prey, health of the overall ecosystem, and threats they face. This information will allow us and our partners to assess and evaluate best solutions for long-term protection of critically endangered species and their habitat. Vikesh, another thing you mentioned was NEST as an apex of the education system. And that tells you a lot. When an apex predator, in this case, snow leopards, goes in a certain direction, it tells a lot about the health of the ecosystem, just as the education community, looking at some of the fast-moving education organizations, you can see that the direction that they're heading in is probably an important direction, and we should all look to them as, for opportunities and help as well. So we began collaborating with the Institute of Engineering students because in 2016, they wrote a paper a technical paper on the methods of optimization of the blended wing body aircraft. And we're thankful to Sudeep Bhattacharya, who we are now working with, and a new set of students at IOE to work with us on our Eagle Ray project. And I'm also thankful to Mr. Kapil Rajami again to have extended our partnership with Advanced College of Engineering and Management. We continue to seek additional collaboration within the engineering, wildlife conservation, government, and law enforcement communities, because our goal in Nepal is to inspire, educate the next generation to develop and apply technology solutions to protect and preserve their beautiful country's natural resources and wildlife. And robotics and AI are definitely a key player in this next future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Princess Alia, for such a wonderful keynote. I think people over here were able to understand what Kashmir World Foundation is doing and what kind of collaboration opportunity they are bringing here to Nepal and what kind of resources they are also bringing to Nepal, and already partnerships are already in place. And as you already mentioned, Kapil sir has been instrumental in bringing that partnership here in Nepal. I think that's what it all meant. As Sunil sir also said, like science diplomacy is really important. Connecting through science can change the nation. And I think KWF's presence in Nepal would help us a lot in terms of resources, in terms of experts, in terms of getting a direction in this era of robotics and AI. Thank you. So now I would like to move ahead to our next keynote speaker, Mr. Mangesh Lal Shrestha. He is chairperson of FNCCI for growth at Frost and Sullivan, and he is also board of director at Cash Techno Cells, and lots of them. Like he is everywhere. His business is everywhere, and he has been promoting technology since last 2 decades, and his background on this technology sectors has helped in building technological foundation in Nepal. And one of the reason why Nepal's digital Nepal framework is there as a strong foundation is because of his support system from Frost and Sullivan. So his role has been instrumental. Please, Mangesh sir, I would like to transfer this mic to you. Please have your keynote to all the audience.
Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, Vikas, and thank you. I'm honored to be here, and namaste to all the distinguished guests and also the chair as well, and the guest speakers as well. When Vikas asked me about this, I got a little thinking on saying that how should I be starting. So he also requested me if I could present something. So I've prepared a small presentation where I'll be driving you from the future towards Nepal today, and maybe dream about how we can achieve that future for being in Nepal as well. So let me share my screen. Can you allow me to share my screen, please?
Be able to share. Niranjanji, can you make Mangesh sir co-host so that he can share?
Thank you. So, when you talk about robotics and AI, as we've been discussing right now, it is on a level field right now. It's very new in the world as well. And with the convergence of, as we call it, the compute power, the data, and the network as well, it has been more and more possible, right? So I would like to start with mega trends of the future. So what do we see and where do we see and how it's getting accelerated? That's what I would like to start with. And uh, on that, we have about global mega trends. There are about 12 transformational themes that Frost and Sullivan, as you can see, from transhumanism to, you talk about Industry 5.0 to connected living, to the concept of zero world and urbanization of industries, so on and so forth, right? So how does this relate to Nepal? This is very, very important. So that I hope, mega trend are the trends that's going to impact the socio-economic aspect of every human being in the earth uh, for about 10 years that we do. So that's 2030. And based on that, for Nepal, when we analyzed, we looked at saying that, okay, connectivity, brick and clicks, urbanization, social trends, all these have a huge impact in how the future is going to be shaped for Nepal, right? So we have a very young generation, Gen Y, Gen X, and then we have a hugely digitally connected ecosystem as well, with the phone penetration going over 135%, and then with pandemic now, definitely we see a lot of fintech and e-commerce also accelerating, so on, so forth. Now, so having said that, what we also see is that we see a rise of fifth industrial revolution, as we call it. So we say the industrial revolution today is at the cusp of transformation. So if you see from Industry 4.0, which is mostly into data and digitization and the digital world, we're seeing more of how human and machine will work together to have that exponential outcome. And this is where the world is going to focus for next 10 decade. For next decade. So we'll go further more into the future, right? And imagine 2030. And if we see about humanization, the evolution of human body, how we are going to be augmented to achieve more, do more, and how will the world look like in that environment? How will you look like? How will we work, right? So this is going to be a totally different ecosystem that we'll be working on. And then again, if you view it in that particular environment, how will our daily life look like? How will we go shopping? How will our kids go to the parks? And then how will we have holidays or even education, right? So but this is a very, very what we call it is a transformative humanity transformation, right? So where how humans will overall the social transformation will happen, and it's all with the integration of digital, where what we are talking about robotics and AI as well, right? And then with that social impact, that what we see is that in even the corporate world and the government will transform, right? So there's a huge transformation that is coming, and it's being accelerated right now as we call. And you can one of the example is this Zoom, right? So we're talking over the Zoom and doing this virtual conference and trying to access, but the way it's going to be is very, very different. So the basic information that I'm trying to pass out here is the impact of tech innovation in shaping the future of business and workplace is going to be exponential, right? So how human and machine will work and how the efficiency will be passed on and how the economies will also compete between themselves is going to be very, very different, and including the business competitiveness as well. So with this, a lot of futuristic work, futuristic imagination that we are talking about, I'd like to come back to reality as well, right? So today, at FNCCI, we are focusing on digital economy, and I'd like to walk you all through that as well. So in that, the first one, where I would like to start is we just launched our National Economic Transformation 2030 with three major vision goals. So one is to how can Nepal be $100 billion economy by 2030? The other one is how can we add 2.2 million employment to the through high economic growth by 2030, and also having a self-reliant and resilient economy by reducing trade deficit, right? So achieving this humongous task or the goal, we've structured in such a way that we identified 10 key focus areas, 100 initiatives, and integrated that and prioritized about 40 of them for immediate focus. So out of that, what I would like to focus on today is there are about 14 initiatives that's focused on knowledge economy or the digital transformation that we talk about. And within this as well, there's a lot of things, a lot of foundational things that Nepal needs to build on before we leapfrog to what we call robotics and AI as well. But it's an opportunity that we see. So that's why we also had mentioned about development of AI and robotics capabilities, infrastructure, and futuristic implementation through investments as well. So this is where we see the huge focus and investment needs to go from definitely domestic investors as well as the FDIs as well. Uh, so to do that, we've segregated our committee, where Vikas is also part of the committee as well, into 5 different subcommittees, focusing highly on what government has launched Digital Nepal. Uh, Policy reform is a huge aspect of this transformation that we are talking about. Another is we want to focus on programs and initiatives. Well, the media and advertisement, there's a huge impact on how digital or the digital media is impacting or transforming the traditional media industry as well, and comes under this forte as well. And definitely intercoordination, because it needs to be a collective work. So one of the highlight, again, as everyone has been talking in Nepal, and today's program as well, is Digital Nepal, right? So we talk about 80 initiatives in 8 different sectors and how it can have an impact of 800 billion rupees. And this is a huge transformation foundation for Nepal. And we would like to partner with government and look at the opportunities for both investment and taking forward and implementing this particular framework as well from private sector perspective. Uh, Another thing, what we see today is in this sad situation of COVID, there's an opportunity for innovation as well. How the adoption of digital has accelerated. Uh, in fact, digital has been a savior for humanity, I would say, connecting, entertaining, and keeping us sane at certain level as well. But definitely, there has been acceleration, and world has innovated. We have innovated to work, to live, and also communicate as well, as we see from a traditional uh, basis to how we are today. And it is going to stay for a very long time, I think so. Another thing is for digital economy, digital inclusion is key, and we'll talk about it a bit more. How can we make it more democratic? How can we have more people educated and ready for a future workforce? That is one of the key gap we see from the industry side as well, saying that the workforce is not ready to adapt to future technologies. And even though the private sector invests into that, uh, we don't see that adoption. So another key element is multi-stakeholder collaboration. That is very important on both from employment seeker, employment provider, government, private sector, all of us working together, and even the researchers, as we discussed about as well. So the way forward that we see is, as I see it, is Nepal should look at on ahead of the curve in 2 aspects. One is integration of futuristic technologies. For example, there are few cement industries or bike industries out here who's implemented robotics and artificial intelligence at certain level as well. But how you implement that to have that exponential efficiency, cost reduction, and competitive edge as well. The other one is develop digital economy, right? Around future such as robotics and AI, where last 2 decades of digital transformation, I think Nepal has lost that wave, but this is an opportunity to leapfrog and come into exponential economic transformation and knowledge economy as well. So having said that, how do we do it, right? So we talked about adapt, leapfrog as well. That is a way of acceleration. But we see that the private sector and the government needs to work hand in hand to develop this particular digital economy, where we are also looking at promoting investment, both domestic and foreign as well, to have that futuristic digital and ICT development and driving towards knowledge economy. We do want to have digital inclusion, enhancing access to ICT infrastructure. That's why when you see that a lot of access to internet, access to computing is a key, and having that future-based digital literacy also is very, very important, and where we are also planning a lot of things as well. Second, the other one is participate in the global digital economy and innovation. So digital services don't have boundaries, right? It's virtual boundaries. So based on that, we want to participate in the global economy. And this is an opportunity to leapfrog and also come into that global economy and participate for high income environment as well. Policy reform is a key element where will be working with the government as well. For example, we've been working with the government on e-commerce and other policies as well. And finally, this challenging time has given acceleration to digital adoption, and the world is going to be executing in a very different way. And Nepal needs to prepare for that, to have that competitive edge as well. So with this, I'd like to thank you all, and I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much for this wonderful keynote. I think that was so comprehensive that it shows us the direction, like where the world is going, what kind of global mega trends are there, and what mega trends are happening in Nepal. And we also were able to see what future economies looks like, what's future infrastructure projects that we can bring in, what kind of future technology that we should be adapting, what kind of emerging technologies are there. And I think the 40 initiatives that are will be taken under FNCCI will be really remarkable for the as a turning point for this digital economy and the adoption of robotics and AI. And I think the way forward are really to be precise, like partnership with governments and government of Nepal and private sector is important, investment promotion. These are really crucial point. And I think digital adoption, it's something that we cannot ignore. Digital adoption is the way ahead because for Nepal to grow itself from this low income country to a high income country, I think a digital adoption plays a huge role. So with this really amazing keynote, I would like to thank Mr. Mangesh Lal Shrestha. Now I would like to go for another keynote, one of the highlight of today's event from Mr. Benson Tam. We have his actually I would like to say apologize to you all as well because of his health issues. He has sent us his recording. So we would Mr. Andre, who is chairperson for Good City Foundation, will be playing the video on his behalf. Mr. Andre, please take it forward.
Thank you so much, Bikash, and good evening, everyone from Nepal, and also all the friends from different countries, all the audience online on Facebook live stream. This is Andre from Good City Foundation. Well, again, as Bikash mentioned, Benson has made his recording of the around 60-minute keynote and his presentation about smart city development, and also making an example of mainland China, the growth, the planning of smart cities, and how it would be driving the future of AI and robotics, and how that would be a potential example for Nepalese technologies, entrepreneurs, and digitalization in the countries. So now, without further ado, I will be sharing screen and also play the video, and please enjoy.
This year marks the 40th anniversary of the reform and opening up of China. With a GDP worth $14 trillion and the slowest GDP growth in decades, where is China heading? We are seeing historic opportunities arising. We are seeing the second transformation of China coming. Digitalization, high-speed rail, and rising middle classes are the three megatrends driving the second transformation. Powered by 5G, AI, and IoT, digitalization is going to connect everything and everyone, intelligentizing all industries. High-speed rail network is expanding the boundary of metro areas and connecting all cities. Hundreds of millions of rising middle-class people are ready to spend trillions of dollars for better products, better services, and a better living environment. We see that China is transforming into a smart, urbanized city. One key success factor, which is to make all cities smart. China has started smart city initiatives in more than 500 cities, and more than 500 billion RMB has been invested.
过去的这一年很不寻常，世界发生了巨大的变化，疫情也带来了巨大的挑战。在今天所有巨大的不确定当中，有一件事是确定无疑的，那就是数字化的趋势没有改变。数字化以前只是让一些企业活得更好，而今天是企业活下去的关键。数字化的进程本来可能需要30-50年才能完成，现在却被大大的加速，这个过程很可能缩短到10-20年。在所有的我们面临的不确定当中，数字化是我们现在最确定的巨大机遇。数字化会真正撬动中国的内需，我们14亿人口的内需远远没有被发掘。数字技术的发展会让中国内需进入一个全新的阶段。未来的城市的发展就看谁的数据更丰富，谁的计算更快，谁能够真正理解数据，保护好数据的安全和隐私，用好数据来促进经济社会的发展。
I'm Benson, and I always say that I must be one of the luckiest men on earth because 21 years ago, I met a crazy guy from Hangzhou, and I've been invested in Alibaba for the last 21 years, and we're still all in. I haven't exited at all. So we were the first round investors, and more than in terms of how much money we made, it was a journey that was really, really eye-opening for me. And so much so that 2 years ago, I started Ventures Group. Our new mission after 20 years is to make cities smart. And the reason I will tell you in the next 30 minutes why this is so compelling to me. And this is not just making even more money. This is about serving the citizens. And this is all about, frankly, for me as a civil engineer, finally, I get to build something. Okay, so if everybody's ready, I'll take you into a new world. My original presentation, there are 4 parts to it. I'll only focus on the middle 2. The first one, you guys all understand it. I don't need to tell you all about why there are smart cities and all that. So I'll just focus on what smart cities are and what impact it's going to give. First of all, to me, smart cities are like the CPUs of the old digital economy. These are very deep tech central processing units. Why are cities so important? Because I call it the 3rd generation internet. 20 years ago, the PC came in and they created the Alibaba, the Baidu, the Tencent of this world. 10 years ago, it became the 2nd generation internet, which was the mobile internet. That of course created Pinduoduo, Xiaomi, and other companies like that. Now, I would say in the year 2020, we are seeing the start of the new city internet. And the reason I say that is that if you think about your phone doesn't work by itself. Chances are, if you're in China, your phone, when you walk inside a building, the IoT devices in the building will start to talk with your phone. It will update the QR code, which is your health code, you know, and then all of that IoT devices would then talk to a cloud that is over the whole city. So this mobile phone that you have is actually already starting to change into whole city internet, where all the systems work together in a very complex way to serve you as a citizen. Now, what is important is that this is way bigger than mobile, because we will tell you that you are changing all the industries. It's going to be way faster than mobile, just like mobile was way faster than PC. But most importantly, the reason I'm so excited is that myself, having been in technology investing for the last 28 years, I am seeing this movie a 3rd time. This is the 3rd time the internet is coming again. And so that's why I hope to share some of the insights that we have seen in my first two, shall we say, watching of the movie. It's going to be massive, okay? And it's very complex, like I said. I don't know how many of you actually know that something like 800 towns and cities with a population bigger than 1 million has been quietly upgrading themselves to becoming smart. I happen to be invested in a company called Eyes of Stone. We will tell you more about it. For the last 8 years, they have already served out of the 800, something like 170 towns and cities, working very closely with the mayors and delivering projects like entire citywide smart hospital networks, smart traffic networks, city brains, and all that. So for the last 8 years, this has been ongoing. And what is happening is that in 2 years' time, there will be easily 1,000 of these towns and cities, and they will start to form a network. And they will become, I would say, the centers of the new digital economy that is, in a sense, quietly being built inside of China. So that's why I say that this is going to be massive, and this is going to be very complex. And to give you a sense of the scale, a typical small little township, let's say in Hong Kong, let's say it's Tai Shing, okay? That's about 2 square kilometers. A small township like that, you need to integrate basically 100 buildings in which there are easily 10,000 companies, each with their own IT department. And within that area, you would have every year roughly 1 million residents, customers, and also travelers who pass through that district. And in order for us to get a smart city or a smart town out of that and integrating all of that, you can imagine this is no joke. And that is why that we want to focus on the complexity. And of course, if you're going to do the complexity, it has to be deep tech. Otherwise, you just ain't going to be able to do that. It's 3 key areas. Everybody, you must have heard about the digital infrastructure, 5G, everybody's talking about it, AI, IoT, industrial internet, data centers, and so on. The digital infrastructure is needed, and without which no cities can become a digital economy. Just like 100 years ago, when we all started to become trade cities, just like Hong Kong, you needed a container port in order for trade to happen. The second thing I would also say is, of course, there are a lot of new technologies that are emerging, some of which you have already seen, if you see in the center block. Some of the things you have not even perhaps heard of. We are looking at, for example, edge computing. We're looking at augmented reality. We're looking at eyeglasses. We are looking at, Saibo was saying, digital twin. We are looking at virtual reality. We're building citywide, what we call BIM plus GIS plus IoT type city models. And trying to get all of them working together, this whole integration to create a unison, almost like trying to make the whole thing into a motherboard so that all these complexity and scale can all work together. That's no joke, okay? And that is why another way that to make sense of this very complex city is, I say to people, what if we can make the city programmable? And you can, because with all of what we're doing with the digital twinning and everything else, we are effectively creating a programmable city. And this is what I call a next generation economy. We went through the industrial age, we then go to the personal global trade economy, and the next iteration is what I call programmable economies. So that's the technology side. The other side that is very important for cities is that it is all about people. It is going to be the urban centers of the new, what I call all digital natives. like my daughter who's 25. And for her, I'm sure in 10 years, she will choose cities to live in, just like she choose a building to live in today or a hotel that you check in. You will never check into a hotel with no Wi-Fi, correct? That's called a dumb hotel. In 10 years' time, you will never, ever live in a dumb city because you can't work, you can't live, you can't play. So that's why I say that cities are so important. And that's why I'm so excited, because with the new, in a sense, programmable city where everything serves you as the citizen, you will be living inside the technology. It will be all around you. It is already all around you. It's just that because you don't see it, you don't feel it. But in the future, you'll feel it even more. And there are lots and lots of benefits out of it. I would just take 3 of them. Number 1 is, of course, you'll be a lot more productive. Just like today, you can Zoom from anywhere. We can connect anywhere. We don't all need to be in the same room. You can live with a lot more choices. You can choose to live outside of big city. You don't need to put up with the Beijing pollution or Shanghai. You can live, 100 kilometers away, and the 5G will make sure that you are effectively working inside the center of the city. And the other thing that is even more, I would say, revealing is that today's cities are very cold and disconnected. You don't even know your neighbor. I think in the future cities, because you're living outside, you're living much more green, you have a online, offline social network, the community spirit, there'll be more of them, not less. The other thing I would say is that why China? Well, it's not there is any reason that it has to be China. It's just that, can you imagine trying to build a smart town or a smart city with, like I said, 100 buildings, 10,000 companies, and 1 million customers each? And then you multiply that by 1,000 again. You need a conductor. This ain't gonna come out just like that. You can't just say, oh, I rely on the market. It doesn't work because it's too complex. So that's why you need a conductor, number 1. Number 2 is that you also need all of government, business, and the population all, in a sense, tacitly agreeing and moving forward in a fast way. And so that's why I say that of all the places that I've looked at when I started to decide that I want to do smart cities, it became the only choice that I have to start from China. Not only China, but this is the one that perhaps will be the, shall we say, the reference site, the experimental benchmark, and everything else. So that's why I say this. There's a lot of things that I'm showing here on this slide. I will share it later on. The things that they have been doing in the last 7 or 8 years. Concrete examples of where they have done it already. Cloud Town, just out of Hangzhou. You must go and see it when you can travel. That's an amazing smart town already. Xiong'an, you must have heard of it. This mega town that they want to be almost like a show town. Shenzhen, which is fast upgrading to become a smart city, a cashless society. Now, I would also, just to trigger conversation today, all of this is not a pipe dream. There are many, many completed concrete examples. Number 1, like I said, Isoftone is the smart city, I would say, contractor and developer of technology that we have been invested for 12 years. And for the last 8, they've been doing, and I take one example. This is a community of about 1 million population, quoting Cyber. There is a control room for the whole city. It's almost like a command center where they can coordinate the fire services, the community services, and everything else. And with this, energy savings is something between 15 to 25% already. In terms of security and community crime rate, it's down 88%. And then, of course, the satisfaction of the residents, it's up 20%. So again, very concrete examples, it's live, it's there, it's being done. Another one on a smaller scale is Arab, who is another strategic partner of interest, is that instead of doing a whole district, they do one building. And the idea is that, what if I have an operating system, a command center for every building? Wouldn't that be great? Yes. So here's what you can do with it. Number one, again, lots of energy saving. Number two, you can start optimizing and the performance of many aspects of the buildings. And by the way, you know, if you're in Hong Kong, you should go down to Untitled Place, because that is the first building in Hong Kong that has fully adopted this Arab technology in terms of running the building much greener, much more efficient, and much more effective. So that's all for today. I just want to have enough to provoke people to ask me more questions. And I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that if there's one place that we should all start to look at, it is in China. Not because of any reason, but just because that they, of all reasons, people realize that in order to be in the digital economy, you have to build the digital infrastructure. And they have started the transformation since 8 years ago. So with that, I'll pause and perhaps pass it back to Andre.
Thank you, and I hope everyone enjoyed the video. We are definitely putting a lot of effort in smart cities, and also specifically working with Bcash as well, and coming forward more into AI robotics development in the future. Any questions about the slides and also the presentations and future collaborations? Feel free to reach out to me and also Bcash for more. And now I'll pass the time back to Bcash. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Andre, for playing the remarks from Mr. Benson. I think that was a really futuristic. Like, I can really visualize where the world is going and how China is leading, and that's really opportunity for Nepal, because Nepal being a neighboring country to the biggest soon to be biggest economy in the world. I think it's a privilege and opportunity for us, and for robotics and AI community as well, because Mr. Benson presented robotics, AI, big data, cloud, IoT, edge computing, AR, VR, these sectors as a key technology to make the transformation. So I think that's a huge advantage for robotics and AI community to start from now, like where the future is heading. Where are the opportunities? And I think this is the time, like we need to set ourselves that the opportunities lies in robotics and AI, and the transformation that we are going to see will be completely different. So Mr. Benson, being the first round investor in Alibaba, and also being the IoT and urbanization expert at World Economic Forum, I think that remarks was really wonderful to the audience of Nepal and all over the world who are listening to us. I know like there's a limited audience from now, but still I think that would go to them as a recording session as well. So I would like to thank Mr. Benson for his time, even for recording this wonderful remarks from his side to the people of Nepal. I think that was really appreciable. So I would like to close this keynote speaker session from this onward. And if any one of us has any questions and answers, questions to our keynote speakers, you can ask them during the panel session. So now I would like to move to our next panel session, Tech for Tomorrow, Nepal's preparation in the era of robotics and AI. So as you can already see, like the future, where we are heading from Mr. Benson, Mrs. Alia. I think we need to also understand what preparation is going on the ground. And there are like lots of organizations and communities and leaders playing the role to make that transformation. And for that purpose, we try to invite different stakeholders. But for now, we have 3 different panelists joined with us. Mr. Parag Sesta, who is Managing Director for Fuse Machines leading South Asia. And he has a vast experience in this artificial intelligence spectrum and leading Fuse Machines all of his work in South Asia. Fuse Machines, with this mission of democratizing AI, it's all about digital transformation they want to bring in the country. And I think we should be proud of the work Fuse Machines are doing, because they are bringing AI tech access to undeserved communities in the world, not only to the Nepal, but also to the undeserved community that are there in the world. And I definitely respect the work Mr. Samir, Dr. Samir is doing, and also to Team Parag and Mukunda sir, who has been doing tremendous job in terms of building the capacity for AI engineers here in Nepal, and having local talent serving Nepal is a great work in this time where peoples are going from Nepal to other countries for bigger opportunities. So with this note, I would like to invite our first panelist for today, Mr. Parag Srestha. Please, Mr. Parag, take the stage forward, and then followed by Mr. Parag, our next panelist, Geeta Basyal, will take on the this whole program.
Namaste and good evening to everybody here that is participating in this wonderful program from Nepal. So I'm Parag Srestha, like Vikas mentioned. I'm MD of Fuse Machines South Asia. I'll be representing Fuse Machines and some of our efforts and what we have done in the last decade or so in our existence across the globe, but primarily focusing in Nepal in today's panel. I have a few slides, Vikas, so let me just share my screen.
Let's try, it should be.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, awesome. So let me just begin by spending a minute or so in giving a little bit of primer of who we are as a company. So Fuse Machine was established almost a decade ago by our CEO, CEO and founder, Dr. Samir Maske, who is currently teaching artificial intelligence in Columbia University, New York, with the mission of democratizing AI and bringing access of AI technology and access to underserved communities across the world, right? So what his vision was is this frontier of technology, and earlier other panel speakers mentioned as well, Princess Alia said, this is almost the final frontier of innovation, in that if there is to be a digital divide, then it's going to be very difficult to bridge that divide. So I think it's to best interest of everybody and every citizen in the globe to have access to AI and robotics and the new set of technology that's coming out. So we've been in existence for almost a decade, and we're headquartered in New York with 90% of our operations being run from our Nepal office in Nepal. We also have offices in Canada, Dominican Republic, and starting one in Argentina soon. So we're about 300 odd employees, and we've been doing AI work across the spectrum of industries, from government to private sectors, building AI solutions, having our own patented AI technologies at the same time. And given all of this, I think one thing to highlight is we do all of that work in Nepal, right? So 90% of our engineering is done in Nepal with Nepali citizens, and we take great pride in being able to be in the ground and really make that impact in terms of building the next generation of AI, not only engineers, but there's so many other jobs that are in the AI and the robotics ecosystem, if you will, right? So I want to dive right into what we're doing in Nepal. So like I said, we do work in North America, we work in Europe, Latin America, and all over the world. And we work with government organizations to private, bringing AI education, bringing AI technology, and our own products, right? But what are we doing in Nepal? So let's spend the next few minutes of what are we doing in Nepal and what have we done in the last decade or so. So primarily our focus in Nepal is in the area of education and job creation, right? So we have a multitude of programs that we run in Nepal, and these programs are targeted to bring not only people from IT and engineering background, but even non-IT and engineering background to the fold of AI and introduce them to the world of AI and the ecosystem and what is happening. And then, they can chart a course and have a long-term, career invested in the future that's coming out, right? So we have, short workshops that's called AI to go. Those are, 3-week, very intense workshop, hands-on. You'll walk away, building a very minimal AI application, but it's a great intro into understanding the world of AI. Then we have, intro to AI that's a little more expansive. You can, even target it to upgrade professionals in the field of IT that's already working as engineers, but now want to, get into being machine learning engineers and all of that. And then we have an AI micro degree program. This is adapted from Dr. Samir Maski's teaching in Columbia University. That program we've adapted to us, and within 9 months, you can be really ready to be a full ML engineer. And then a few months after that, you can really specialize either in computer vision, natural language processing, and deep learning, and all of that. We're also starting now to really kind of look at that intersection of AI and robotics and IoT, AR, VR, and all of that. So we're coming up with stream courses. Now, what does that stream stand for? Is science, technology, robotics, engineering, arts, and maths, right? So a lot of AI actually underneath that is all about maths and really understanding that. So we build a lot of focus and foundation in mathematics as well. So these programs have been running in Nepal for many years now. We've provided a lot of scholarship, we call AI Siksha through our CSR, so that, again, everybody has access to AI education, which is at the foundation of really building all of the vision and concepts that you've seen before. What comes prior to that is a sound foundational framework, and especially for countries like Nepal that's just starting in this wave of AI. So apart from that, we also partner with a lot of education institutions. I saw Kapilji here. We've partnered with ACEM in terms of providing our expertise in bridging the gap between what's really taught at the universities and colleges, and how can that translate into somebody really getting out of college and really being productive, right, and contributing to the growing knowledge economy. We're also starting to actually go down that food chain, and really, so we've run a couple of pilot programs in US actually, spanning grade 9 to 12 in Florida, Putnam County, and those have been really successful. So we're starting to bring AI education down to the school level as well, and which is really exciting. And that's where the excitement, the motivation should really start from. Apart from providing education, we also, and just to mention that some of the programs that we run, we also hire a good amount of engineers from our own programs, right? And so that's so we create the marketplace to then go and really apply the skills that have been learned in a classroom environment, and really bring about that professionalism and the bodies that are needed for the future of creating an AI economy. For the market in Nepal, especially last year as the pandemic hit, we started thinking, how can we bring a meaningful contribution? And we thought that one of the biggest area where there's been disruption because of the pandemic is in the area of education. And we've created our own EdTech platform, which is AI assisted. It's called Fuse Classroom. And I'm proud to say that over a year of building it with 100 engineers, and we've been really hard at work. Currently, we have almost about 40,000 students studying every day. Out of that, almost 25,000 students are from Nepal. The rest 15,000 are spread in South Africa, England, and US. And we're going to start expanding globally as well. So just to kind of put things into perspective, we've built AI platform technology in Nepal with Nepali engineers. We have Nepali students studying, but also students from across the world studying, right? So it's a great example of having the confidence that we can truly build world-class applications and AI-driven applications in Nepal here itself. That's just not for the Nepali community, but we can then give it to the world and collaborate on that innovation. We have just about created another product called Fuse Upskill, which is AI-assisted training platform. This is primarily geared towards training institutions, corporations that want to again upskill their employees. And then we've just introduced Fuse Extract, which is an OCR, ICR kind of intelligent character recognition product, which is needed again for economy like Nepal that is trying to transform to the digital age. And at the end, all of the paper-based activities needs to be digitized, right? That's the framework of starting a digital economy. So that's where we want to start contributing. And a lot of, we're starting to work with like banks and insurance companies to start with. So all this to say is, with everything that we do, ultimately what it boils down to is these feedback and the impact that we can make in the lives of students, right? In Nepal and in US. And when we think about democratizing AI, we're not only talking about democratizing and bringing AI in underserved communities in the global south, right? You'll be surprised to hear that there's about 50 million people in US alone that are in food stamps. So there are underserved economies in everywhere around the world. In the most leading economies in the world, there are people that have been left behind, and our mission is to bring AI technology to them as well. I like to say is there is so much to do in AI and robotics in Nepal, and we're just getting started. And I think that's the most exciting part of what a group like this can come and exchange ideas. Like Mangesh showed us a couple of visions that we can aspire to for the next 10 years. And I think just to reiterate, the gap with AI and runaway innovations like AI would be too big in the future to try and normalize. So we need to be part of that movement now. The time is right. Again, as bad as the pandemic's been, it's also been a window of opportunity for different stakeholders across the aisle to come together and really, collaborate to bring about this change so that we can be part stakeholders and not recipients of this new technology, and really, contribute and be a contributing factor in accelerating this, right? So, lastly, our commitment, and why I say like I'm so proud of the team that we have, and why we wake up every day and we work hard to bring AI technology and accessibility to underserved communities in the world, is because we believe in AI for good, right? We believe that, by educating people in AI, creating meaningful jobs in AI, and building wonderful product and solutions like our earlier speakers mentioned, that it has to improve the quality of life of each and every individual. And that's what we are there for. And that's our collective mission and our commitment. So we'll be very open and open to collaborating and creating strategic partnerships so that we can further enhance the impact of this technology that is going to be a big part of how we live, work, and create our shared future for the years and decades to come. So with that, I'll conclude. Namaste, and thanks for giving us a voice in this wonderful conference.
Thank you so much, Mr. Parag Shrestha, for this wonderful sharing of what Fuse Machines is contributing to nation. Like it's definitely a contribution to 75 plus employees, which are basically on AI. That's huge because Nepal's generations need to leapfrog themselves into this AI domain, and Fuse Machines democratizing AI. And also one part I exclusively like is how females are being engaged. 38%. That's a quota more than the government. So that's a huge achievement for Fuse Machines. And I think everyone who is working on this technology sector should also learn from Fuse Machines on how we can bring these females into AI domain. And I think Fuse Machine has been instrumental in recognizing AI in Nepal. And Fuse Machines work has also inspired Nepal government in adapting to AI technologies. And last year, with the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, we actually worked together to organize first ever Nepal's AI conference, international AI conference. Somehow, because of this different political situations and also COVID-19, we were not able to do that. But still, I think Fuse Machines work actually inspired the actions from MOCIT and MOEST. So thank you, Mr. Prakash. We will get back to you with more questions from the audience and from my side as well. So after connecting with this MOEST background, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has also been coming on the front on how a ministry could contribute, ministry could streamline robotics and AI. And in the science, technology and innovation policy, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has put robotics and AI as an important emerging technology and has prioritized that investment should be there. So we have a representative from Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and one of the really active and dynamic leader as a mechanical engineer, Miss Geeta Basial. So Geeta ji, please join us in the session and share how Ministry of Education, Science and Technology is planning on more science and technology promotion in Nepal, how they are focusing on emerging technologies. Thank you.
धन्यवाद विकासी। यस सेसनको अध्यक्षता गर्नुभएका आदरणीय तथा माननीय पूर्व मन्त्रीज्यू, प्रमुख अतिथि नास्का उपकुलपतिज्यू, प्यानलिस्टज्यूहरू, किनोट स्पिकर्स एन्ड डाइरेक्टली र इन्डाइरेक्टली उपस्थित हुनुभएको सम्पूर्णमा मेरो नमस्कार। म गीता बस्याल, हाल शिक्षा विज्ञान तथा प्रविधि मन्त्रालयमा मेकानिकल इन्जिनियरको रूपमा कार्यरत छु। अराउन्ड 3.5 भइसकेको छ। एआई नेपाल सरकारको तर्फबाट एज अ होल भन्दा पनि शिक्षा विज्ञान तथा प्रविधि मन्त्रालयले एआई सम्बन्धी के काम गरेको छ अनि के प्लानिङ हुँदैछ त भन्ने विषयमा मेरो छोटो प्रेजेन्टेसन छ। विकासी, can I share?
You can share actually. Can you try? Like.
Okay. Can you see my presentation slide?
Yes, Geetaji, completely clear.
Okay. नीतिगत व्यवस्थाको बारेमा कुरा गर्नु पर्दाखेरि राष्ट्रिय विज्ञान प्रविधि तथा नवप्रवर्तन नीति 2076 मा आर्टिफिशियल इन्टेलिजेन्सलाई चाहिँ प्रायोरिटी साइन्स एन्ड टेक्नोलोजीको एउटा प्रायोरिटी डोमेनकै रूपमा यसलाई मेन्सन गरेको छ, जसले चाहिँ उद्योग व्यवसाय र अन्य क्षेत्रको तीव्र विकासमा सघाउ पुर्याउनको लागि यस टेक्नोलोजीलाई युज गर्नु नै पर्नेछ भनेर विज्ञ एक्सपर्टहरूले राय दिनुभएको कारणले यो मेन्सन नै छ। अनि अर्को नीतिमा हामीले 6 वटा प्रायोरिटी सेक्टरहरू छुट्याएका थियौँ। त्यो एचिभ गर्नको लागि एआई इज भेरी मच इम्पोर्टेन्ट सेक्टर भनेर यसलाई पनि मेन्सन गरेको छ। सो यसबाट के थाहा हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि गभर्मेन्टले एआईलाई प्रायोरिटी लिस्ट नै राखेको छ। भर्खर विकासजीले भन्नुभयो जस्तै एआईलाई गभर्मेन्टले प्रायोरिटी नै राखेको छ। अनि प्लस अरू मिनिस्ट्रिजहरूले पनि दिस टेक्नोलोजी मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट इमर्जिङ टेक्नोलोजी भनेर आइडेन्टिफाई गरिसकेको छ। त्यसको इक्जाम्पल भनेको डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्क 2019 लाई पनि दिन सकिन्छ। अरू फ्युज मेसिनको सरहरूले पनि मेन्सन गरिसक्नु भएको छ धेरै कुराहरू डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्कको बारेमा। त्यसमा चाहिँ एआईको लागि भनेर स्पेसिफिक गरेर केही एरियाहरू आइडेन्टिफाई गरिदिएको छ। जस्ट फर इक्जाम्पल टु मेजर क्रप क्वालिटी प्यारामिटर्स अघि सरले पनि मेन्सन गरिसक्नु भएको थियो। एग्रिकल्चरलाई हामीले कसरी प्रमोट गर्न सकिन्छ एआईको माध्यमबाट भनेर मेन्सन गर्नुभएको थियो। त्यही नै डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्कमा पनि लिस्ट गरेको छ। च्याटबट्सहरू AI for image recognition and analysis during disaster management, which is very much important in the modern type of disaster management. For example, this scenario of pandemics. अर्को भनेको एआईलाई ल इन्फोर्समेन्टमा पनि युज गर्न सकिन्छ है भनेर नेपाल सरकारले आइडेन्टिफाई गरिसकेको छ। जस्तै अब रेगुलरली हुन सक्ने कामहरू जस्तै ट्राफिक लाइट्सको समयमा ट्राफिक लाइट्सको लहरू कसैले भायोलेट गरेको छ कि छैन भन्नेहरू यस्तो एरियामा चाहिँ एआईहरू युज गर्न सकिन्छ है भनेर गर्नु नै पर्छ है भनेर आइडेन्टिफाई गरिसकेको छ। यो भनेको पोलिसीको व्यवस्थाहरू भइ नै हाल्यो। फर द English speakers, I was saying that the emerging technologies like AI shall be utilized in the development of industries, business, and other sectors. And there are 6 priorities identified in STI Policy 2076, where AI is the priority technology that will be used to attain that priority sectors. And as Vikasji already mentioned, मन्त्रालयले NAIC 2020 को आयोजनाको फुल फ्लेजको तयारी गरिसकेको पनि थियो। अर्को भनेको हामीले एआई सल्लाहकार समिति चाहिन्छ है मन्त्रालयमा भनेर बनाउनु पर्छ भनेर मन्त्री स्तरीय निर्णय अलरेडी भइसकेको पनि छ। अनि तर त्यसमा सल्लाहकारहरू चाहिँ सिलेक्ट भइसक्नु भएको चाहिँ छैन। हाउएभर इन्डाइरेक्टली र डाइरेक्टली यो सेक्टरमा यतिसम्म हामी कहाँ एक्सपर्ट हुनुहुन्छ है भनेर हामी कहाँ रेकर्ड चाहिँ छ, पुरा रूपमा नभए पनि छ भन्नलाई हामी अहिले सकिन्छ। राष्ट्रिय तथा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरका एआई सम्बन्धी कार्यहरू फर इक्जाम्पल कुनै युनिभर्सिटिजहरूले एआई सम्बन्धी कन्फरेन्स या कामहरू गर्न थालेको छ भने MUST-ले फरवर्ड भएर नै हेल्प गरिरहेको छ। अनि अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय स्तरका एआई सम्बन्धी कार्यमा मन्त्री स्तरीय भिजिट पनि भइसकेको अवस्था नै छ। मोस्टको वान अफ द सेक्सनमा एनओसीको लागि च्याटबट युज गर्ने भनेर धेरै काम अगाडि बढिसकेको पनि छ। यो भनेको हाम्रो लागि खुसीको कुरा नै हुन्छ किनभने एआईले धेरै कामहरू सजिलो पार्नेछ भनेर हामीले विश्वास लिएका छौँ। जस्तै क्वेसनरहरू क्वेरिजहरूलाई एन्सर गर्ने लगायत त्यसमा सधैँ स्टाफहरू उपलब्ध नभए पनि च्याटबटले हेल्प गर्नेछ भनेर त्यो च्याटबट चाहिँ प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर नै छ MOEST-को लागि। एनओसी अन्तर्गत अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय एआई सम्मेलनको बारेमा अघि भन्नुभएको जस्तै यसमा हामी कहाँ 3टा कमिटी अलरेडी बनिसकेको थियो। यस कमिटीबाट हामी चाहिँ एकदम पोजिटिभ नै छ किनभने हामीले धेरै संस्थाहरूसँग आबद्ध हुने मौका पायौँ। फ्युज मेसिनको सर यहीँ नै हुनुहुन्छ परागजी, उहाँहरूसँग ऱ्यान नामी लगायतका अरू संस्थाहरूसँग पनि हामी आबद्ध हुने मौका पायौँ। सल्लाहकार समितिमा पूर्व मन्त्रीज्यू खुद यहीँ नै हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँलाई म फेरि पनि धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु। उहाँकै अध्यक्षतामा सल्लाहकार समिति गठन भएको थियो। भिसीज्यू पनि हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँ पनि हुनुहुन्थ्यो र NDRI-को सर पनि हुनुहुन्थ्यो। अर्को साइन्टिफिक कमिटीमा इन्टरनेसनल एन्ड नेसनल एक्सपर्ट्स were chosen as a scientific committee. त्यसबाट चाहिँ हामीले कति एक्सपर्ट हुनु रहेछ त मोटामोटी भनेर हामीले रिसर्च गरेका थियौँ र हामीले एक्सपर्ट हुनु रहेछ धेरै नै नेपालमा काम गरिरहनु भएको रहेछ हुनु रहेछ भने एकदम खुसी नै थियौँ। अनि यसमा सचिवालय चाहिँ विज्ञान प्रविधि महाशाखा सचिवालयको रूपमा काम गरिरहेको थियो। यो NIIC 2020 चाहिँ पोस्टपोन मात्रै भएको विकासीलाई म फेरि भन्न चाहन्छु, क्यान्सल भएको चाहिँ होइन। यो महामारी सके पछाडि यसको काम अगाडि बढ्ने नै छ। हामीले अर्थबाट बजेट पनि पाइसकेका अवस्थामा थियो भने पछाडि AI को लागि सरकार पोजिटिभ छ भनेर यसबाट पोजिटिभ म्यासेज दिन चाहन्छु विकासीलाई पनि यहीको प्रोग्राम थ्रुबाट। अनि यसमा राम्रो भनेको हामीले थिम्सहरू पनि आइडेन्टिफाई गरिसकेका थियौँ। गभर्मेन्ट्स एन्ड सोसल गुड्सको लागि AI चाहिँदो रहेछ, बिजनेस एजुकेसन डिजिटल नेपाल फ्रेमवर्कको लागि चाहिँ AI इज मस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट भनेर हामीले आइडेन्टिफाई गरेर थिम्सहरू एक्सपर्टहरूले आइडेन्टिफाई गर्नुभएको थियो। एक्सपेक्टेड इन्भाइटिज AI दुबईको मिनिस्टर आउनु होला भन्ने हाम्रो एक्सपेक्टेसन थियो। गुगल, इन्टेल, इन्डियन एक्सपर्ट्स, रोबो सोफिया, हुवाई, फेसबुक एन्ड सो अन were expected in that conference. सो यो कार्य गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हामीले AI को लागि थियो त्यति बेला र अनि त्यस पछाडि पनि हामीले AI सम्बन्धी युनिस्को लगायतका संस्थाहरूसँग आबद्ध भएर कार्यक्रमहरू गरिरहेका थियौँ। त्यसबाट चुनौतीहरू के थाहा पाइयो भने हाम्रो गभर्मेन्ट सेक्टरमा चाहिँ देयर इज रेजिस्टेन्स टु चेन्ज। रेगुलर भएको काम बाहेक अलिकति फरक तरिकाले गरौँ है भन्ने भावना चाहिँ अलिक कम नै हुने रहेछ, विच इज नट गुड। अनि अर्को भनेको AI प्रति विश्वास अलिक कम नै छ मान्छेहरूमा। AI ले डेटा लिक होला या त्यसबाट जस्तो आउनु पर्ने थियो त्यसको सट्टा अर्कै आइदिएला कि भनेर विश्वास नभएको कारणले पनि AI युज नभएको नै हो यो गभर्मेन्ट सेक्टर्समा। अनि अर्को AI को लागि तथ्याङ्क डेटा नै AI को के भन्छ खाना इनपुट जस्तो चाहिँ डेटा नै हुन्छ। हामी कहाँ पर्याप्त डेटा छैन भन्दा पनि हुन्छ। हामी चाहिँ डेटाको लागि इन्भेन्ट्री म्यानेज गर्नमा हामी पछाडि नै छौँ। त्यो डेटा नभएको कारणले पनि AI हामीले जति स्पिडमा जानुपर्ने थियो त्यति स्पिडमा लैजान सकेका छैन AI को युजको लागि। अनि अर्को भनेको जनशक्तिको अभाव। जनशक्ति इन्डिभिजुअली त हुनु होला, बट कोलाबोरेटिभ एप्रोचमा काम गर्नको लागि जनशक्ति चाहिँ अलि अपर्याप्त नै हुनुहुन्छ जस्तो चाहिँ हामीले काम गर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ फिल हुन्छ। AI मा मात्रै होइन अरू सेक्टरमा पनि जनशक्ति जो चाहिँ कोलाबोरेटिभ एप्रोचमा काम गर्नुहुन्छ उहाँ चाहिँ अलि कम नै छ। त्यो चाहिँ चुनौतीहरू हामीले आइडेन्टिफाई गरेका थियौँ। हाउएभर यो चुनौतीहरू चाहिँ सबै हामीले च्यालेन्जेसहरूलाई ओभरकम गरेर AI लाई चाहिँ हामीले गभर्मेन्ट लगायत अरू प्राइभेट सेक्टर्सहरूमा युज गरेर वी क्यान एचिभ बेनिफिट भनेर चाहिँ आई एम भेरी मच पोजिटिभ अबाउट द्याट। दिस मच फर टुडे। थ्याङ्क यू भेरी मच।
Thank you so much, Geeta ji, for this comprehensive, short but wonderful sharing on your behalf, like how Ministry of Education, Science and Technology is working on promoting robotics and AI. As Geeta ji kindly shared that we were about to organize the first international AI conference in Nepal, and you can see the expected invitees list. We were inviting Minister of AI from Dubai, and then we were planning to invite Jack Ma. We were planning to invite from Google, Intel. There were experts from India. So there was a huge plan that was going on the background, and we already organized few workshops as well to different business stakeholders, government agency leaders, bureaucrats. So this everything was going so smoothly, and then COVID happened. So it stopped, as said by Gitaji. So it's great that it's just postponed. We have budget, and we will be able to take it forward more. And she has already shared about how it's there in policy. So thank you so much for sharing on behalf of Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, the action plans and the works that Ministry of Education, Science and Technology is currently taking forward. Now, I would like to move to next panelist for today, Deepak Bista, who is the president of Robotics Association of Nepal Far West. In this session, we have the theme is how we are preparing for the era of robotics and AI. And as Mr. Parag Srastha has already mentioned, it's about democratizing AI or robotics. So the word democratizing means transferring it from central level to decentralized level. It's about going into all the grassroots. And Mr. Deepak has been leading RAN's Far West region, and he knows the challenges that exist in the Far West region, how he has been working with the young innovators, how he has been able to bring robotics and AI interest in the Far West region. So that learning is really important, and that learning will also help us shape how the robotics and AI could go to other regions as well. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? So, Mr. Deepak, please take the session forward.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Vikas sir, for providing me opportunity to share my experience that I've been accumulated as being a part of Robotics Association of Nepal. Can you see my screen?
So we can do that.
Yeah. Okay, so Robotics Association of Nepal Far West. We started Robotics Association of Nepal back in 2018 with a sole purpose of decentralizing robotics and AI. So we started the branch in Dongadi as a provincial branch. So in Far West, we have been working at the ground level where there are very few people who know about robotics or how to implement AI, how to implement robotics in their daily life. So we back in 2018 when we first started Robotics Association of Nepal in Dongadi. We didn't have many idea how are we going to implement robotics community, how we are going to grow the robotics community in our Far West regions, as there are only a handful of us that are working there. So after many ups and downs, we started our work by starting a competition. We started an event called Mini Yantra. It's a mini event of Yantra 7.0. So we started training the students of secondary levels and lower secondary level. Is there are many students who do not know about robotics or AI, but they are interested in the field, as technology is the emerging topic of our time. So as we started our programs, we started organizing different workshops on the competition that we are going to held. So there are different resources and developments that have been going on since then. So during the first phase of COVID-19 pandemic, Brand Far West is has been doing many innovative things. So we have done the following list, the following activities. We have made swipe collection booths for different rural municipalities and municipalities across Sudurpashchim province. We have provided sanitizing disinfecting tunnel for humans and for vehicles in the border areas, as well as the police checkpoints. We have been working on mini ventilators for corona patients. We successfully implemented a paddle-based hand wash sanitizer dispenser and hand wash and sanitizer dispenser with the collaboration with Mercy Corps and Red Cross Society as well. We have been also working on automatic sanitizer dispenser for government bodies, local government bodies. We started drone surveillance at Bhimdutta municipality as a part of DRRT program, Drone Rapid Response Team program, for surveilling the local community and making them aware of how to beat the COVID-19, how to minimize the COVID-19 infections. And here are a few of the photos of the work that we have done. So as Sudurpashchim province, our province is a little backward in technology from the capital city. Every innovative ideas are appreciated and welcomed. Those ideas are only imaginary for the community level. We can find opportunities in every sectors like electronics, agriculture, constructions, transportation, and other fields. There are a lot of room for improvements that our local community are unaware of. Environmental disasters like flood, fire, landslide, and many more are costing tremendous loss in goods, livestock, and human life. Robotics and AI implemented properly can be a lot of help for the local people. We have been working with different organizations in these factor as well. Since we started Robotics Association Nepal back in 2017, from our group of few people, we have been grown to a huge number of tech enthusiasts that have well trained. There are several people that know how to make drones and how to pilot drones in far west regions. IoT projects are being continuously done in our labs, and we are outcoming with few products as well. Since students of secondary and lower secondary levels are working on advanced technologies like CubeSats, face and voice recognition system, etc. These enthusiasts are always eager to learn whenever and wherever they are given chances. In far west, we are the only ones that are providing them these opportunities. So there are a lot of people who still want to learn the technologies, learn the way how these technologies works, but they are unaware because they cannot be lead by the proper tech entrepreneurs. So challenges in Sudurpashchim is we are far from capital city, and we are back in robotics. We are not accessible with the needed accessories of electronics components. So electronics projects seems to be expensive. We have to get materials from Kathmandu and they are not easily available at there as well. So we have to order them from our neighboring country, India, or maybe from China. So they come to be expensive. So working at local level, making only few products that the people want for their offices or for their companies to work efficiently. uh, with their cost, they cannot be afford easily. So the electronics items, equipments unavailability is one of the greatest challenge. And as we are doing resource and development programs in our local community as well, it's hard to find the financial supporter and financial collaborators around here. So these are all the challenges that we have been facing, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for wonderfully presenting the challenges and opportunities that exist in Sudur Pasim. When we are thinking of democratizing robotics and AI, it's not what it seems. There are lots of these challenges. We cannot easily make sure what is right in Kathmandu is also right in Sudur Pasim or Biratnagar or Pokhara. Capital city is too focused and intense, and we need to also see how we can leverage this kind of robotics and AI technologies for the other part of the country. So thank you, Mr. Deepak, for your wonderful sharing on how RAN Far West is working on robotics and AI. And I think that represents best in terms of RAN regional's other work in Pokhara and Biratnagar. So I would like to move on the question answer session to the panelists today. All panelists, please, Mr. Deepak, can you close this screen out and we can see the panelist with the video? So I would like to start with our first panelist, and then please, audience, have your question answers in the question answer section, and we will take your questions to our audience, to the panelists, and also to the speakers who has already spoke on their behalf. So my first question to Mr. Parag says that Fuse Machines is definitely doing a lot of work in terms of promoting AI, but how can we maximize the efforts? Do you think like the effort can be accelerated from Fuse Machines sides? Do you think there are still gaps that Fuse Machines has not identified yet? And how Fuse Machines make better preparation for Nepal in terms of robotics and AI? First question, followed by it, how can Nepal government or Nepal's policy makers can support?
Yeah, thank you, Bikash. So there's always more to do, right? While we pride ourselves in terms of what we've done so far, I think it's just getting started. We're excited about this decade because for AI to really kind of take shape, a lot of other competing things need to come together. Example, Gidaji mentioned, data needs to be there, right? That's the foundations in terms of machine to learn and patterns recognition, all of that. So I think this decade is really where all of the hype or the promise of AI will start to come to reality, and this is going to be both exciting, but also it's going to bring about a lot more questions than maybe answers, right? In fact, one of the biggest thing in AI is ethics in AI, and we talk about AI for good. So how can we stay pivoted towards making AI again contribute to the greater good for humanity and not be rogue systems that actually create harm, right? So there's a lot to be done, especially now if we focus in the context of Nepal, right? Uh, uh, Deepak ji's presentation earlier is a really good example, and why, and maybe I'll share something that we ourselves have experienced in the past and recently as well, right? So, um, you know, scaling is a challenge because when we talk about scaling, ultimately it comes down to infrastructure, right? Um, we build a world-class AI tech platform in Nepal, and obviously we want to do as much in Nepal. We want as many students from as various different backgrounds to have the opportunity to learn in our platform. And what we had noticed, about 6 to 8 months within launching the product last year, we noticed that obviously a lot of our students from Nepal were from the urban centers, and primarily, Kathmandu and some from Pokhara and Chitwan and all of that. So we say, how can we go beyond the urban centers? How can we go to the rural areas, the really remote areas? Because that's the promise of technology, right? We need to be able to connect everybody. And we actually ran a grant program. Over 250 schools applied across Nepal. We gave grants for 50 schools, i.e., it was free for them to use. But at the end of that, unfortunately, only about 10 to 20% of the schools could even implement it, even if we wanted to give it for free. So that's the challenge. So that is why it's so difficult to really create a level playing field. So I think three things are key. One is awareness, right? So what we are doing today and what we've done in the past, AI Expo, talking about the importance of AI across not just private sector, not just the government, but at the individual level, at the household level, right? Understanding what is this new thing that can we leap forward to it, right? So awareness is key. So doing more of what we are doing. Second, education is the foundation of doing it. So how can we bring about changes in the curriculum, starting at the school level, starting at the college level, and at the professional space, right? And third is really the application of it, right? So once you have awareness, once you have education, how can we apply those knowledge in the areas of agriculture, education, healthcare, and in every sector, we can apply AI for the greater good. But for that application to happen, infrastructure needs to be in place, right? Basic level of connectivity, basic level of computing power needs to be democratized as well. And I think that is where ultimately a national program driven by mandates of government really help, right? Because there's only so much the private sector can heavy lift in that. So I think it's ultimately an alliance and collaboration between all stakeholders and led by the government in creating the digital infrastructure that is needed for all of this to come to life. And I think as a company, what we try to do is we try to reach across the aisle. We try to collaborate, beyond just bringing AI, but we want to go beyond and say, how can we, do awareness in the expos? How can we collaborate with, ISPs and governments to push them towards making infrastructure more accessible and more available. One of the things I'm really glad to hear as part of the mandate of Digital Nepal, internet is going to be categorized as one of the essential services. So I think these type of things, that initiatives as this come around will help lay the foundations where work of AI can truly happen, right? Because if we don't do it in a coordinated way, then there's pockets and silos of good work happening, but it really cannot be democratized and reach the masses. Because I'll give it back.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of the challenges that exist to scale up the work we already are doing, and also the steps that the government could probably take to take it forward. So yeah, Geetaji, as you can hear, the challenges that exist, and I'm so glad that Sanjay sir, who
Yeah.
just retired yesterday, who has been instrumental in bringing this action plan from ministry, and there has been action plan for innovation center. There has been action plan for trainings and workshops on robotics, AI, and emerging technologies so far from the ministry. And I think when it gets implemented, then we will see the impact. So my questions to Geeta ji is, how do you think we can fasten that up? How can we take actions from ministry? What kind of support ministry needs? What kind of resources ministry is planning to implement? What do you think? Like, what's the way ahead?
Okay, because see, Parag sir already mentioned lots of things about the necessary thing for promotion of AI. I want to add one thing that I believe we do not need to apply AI everywhere. We need to sort out the area based on the data, what kind of data is available there. Otherwise, we will lost the track. That's why I believe we have to sort out the area. And another thing, the ministry needs real experts who can work on AI, like Fuse Machines. Sorry, it's here. I am very happy to be in this program. That's it. We have to work on collective approach, and AI is not like installing one computer and doing work there. So we have to work on public-private partnership. I believe that is the most important thing we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much for really wonderfully highlighting public-private partnership that we should bring on the table. And I think MOEST welcoming that as a collaborative effort is really welcome, really wonderful. And I think when experts join together, Nepal government, I think Nepal government can really embrace the change. And as you mentioned, like, it's not about only going through all around and losing our way. It's about finding the right path that where these kinds of emerging technology can be implemented. Thank you so much for your answer. Now I would like to go to Mr. Deepak. Like, as you said, like, there's a lot of challenge. Funds are lacking, resources are lacking, talents may be also lacking, because there's a limited number of pool of robotics engineers around Sudur Paschim. So how is the local government and the municipality helping us? And what about the other organization that thinks, okay, the direction is towards a future of robotics and AI? And how do you think you can still cope up the challenge that exists?
As we are working at the ground level in Sudur Paschim, there are not many experts in robotics and AI here. So with the handful of us, we first started to provide trainings to as much enthusiasts we can find. So as we started our basic trainings from up to +2 level students, we started giving them trainings. We started giving them hand-on workshops on different technologies, open source technologies like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, augmented reality, satellite technologies, drone technologies, etc. And we have also been providing services to the local government as well, as they are being supportive in the ground level, where like they are collaborating with us on the projects or on the products that they need, like simple automations in the offices of local governments and others. So it's really is a challenging task here, though we are struggling to do what we can from this level. So there can be more opportunities if the local government is willing to help us in the resource level, in the trainings level, and the trust issues that the government has not shown us until now, until this pandemic. As this pandemic is growing, we are getting closer to the local bodies more and more. Like recently, we have been working with different local governments on this mechanical based hand paddle system. We have started this project with in the collaboration with Mercy Corps, and it has gone along with Red Cross and different government bodies in the rural areas of Sudur Paschim. So have we have to implement the more of robotics and AI, and we are thinking of doing it more as well. So we have also started a few hand-on practices for the students, are going to be the resourceful users or resourceful users for the future of robotics. And is these trainings will help them in their future life. The students are the students of now, the post students of now, which are being trained now, will be a good resource for tomorrow, that we are going to make a better Nepal or digital Nepal. Thank you.
Yeah, that was also insightful. Like during the pandemic, this local government seemed to understand the use of technology and has been reaching out to local organizations that can work on technological aspect, and that's where partnership came in. So I think local government may be willing to support, but the thing is, they need to understand the need, and with a proper training and capacity building, this local talent can grow themselves up and can provide solution to the challenge that exists, and that can help, I guess, in terms of mobilizing the local government and federal government. Now I would like to go to the question and answers from the participants and audience here. So we have questions from Mr. Sachin Giri. As of Nepal, AI community is small and seems only to be bounded with capital. Particularly speaking, he is member at IOE Pokhara Robotics Club. There are a lot of AI and robotics enthusiasts and students willing to work and contribute in this field, but they are all lacking its good outreach with AI and robotics companies and organizations, which seems to be targeted only for capital. Yeah, that's a worst scene. Are there any specific plan from Fuse Machine? How Fuse Machine is thinking of? How about NAST? How NAST is thinking of? And how about the ministry to rapidly decentralize the opportunities out of the capital? So, Mr. Parag, over to you the answer for the answer. And maybe if we have BC sir still here, he can also share a few plans on how NAST is decentralizing technologies out of the capital.
Yeah, so from Fuse Machines perspective, we definitely are aware of that, and working on the democratization, because it's part of our mission, right? So from the very beginning, we've made our education programs, again, available throughout, students in Nepal, not just in the capital. Because we have different modalities of how we deliver our education programs. Not just blended learning, where you do come to AI center, but also online live classes that are fully online. Especially with the COVID situation, we've been doing more and more online education, and just by the virtue of that, it's helped us reach more students across various parts of Nepal. The other thing, I think, what will naturally happen, especially for private companies like us, is we have been operational, right? Although unfortunately, there's a lot of our Fuse family that's been suffering from COVID as well. But by and large, we are virtual. We are working and still being productive. So what we're going to be doing more is, instead of again, having more bodies in a building or a location, we're going to start to democratize work itself, right? So we're going to start, even right now, so many of our employees are outside of the valley, and they are functional, they are productive. So we're going to be doing more and more of that. We're going to provide more work from home capabilities, so that people that necessarily that cannot come to the capital and also have an opportunity to work with us. So I think one of the things that the pandemic has given us is a real taste and example that, hey, things can happen, right? Goods can be transported, or food can still reach people. Education does not need to be disrupted, and if, and as a corporation, we're going to do more of that. So we're going to make our programs accessible even more. We're going to have our employee base spread out across Nepal even more, and thus move towards more of that decentralization. Vikas, to you.
Thank you so much for wonderfully answering how Fuse Machine is planning to decentralize it and how partnership can be one way to work together. So I would like to take the same question to Geeta ji as well, like how ministry's action plan connects this question. Like I think there are provisions to go out of the valley, and I think there is a plan to actually activate the tech support team for the government organizations. So please share your views on the question.
Yeah, yes, because in the action plan, there is a special focus to establish R&D unit or science unit in local level, like in every municipality that will seek the need of that local level, and we will assign the technical person of that municipality. Not we do not plan to establish new. We are not planning to establish a new unit, but we plan to assign the technical.
Geeta ji, I think we cannot hear you.
Person will seek the need of that body, that municipality or local level, and deliver to the proposed science and technology department. There is a proposal to establish a new science and technology department that will also assist the local bodies in mobilizing science and technology. And apart from that, there are lots of plan in the action in that framework of action that emphasize the local level in promotion of science and technology.
Yeah, thank you for also mentioning the establishment of R&D unit that is planned by Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, and that's really wonderful. Like R&D unit in every municipality means it's an opportunity for this tech enthusiasts, tech lovers, tech experts to have their support system in a local level. And when there is a technical expertise in local level, we can see the fast forward growth. So I think this action plan will be really a game changer when implemented in a proper way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Apart from that, yes,
yeah,
because the need of people in the local level varies from municipality to municipality. For example, in the Sudur Pasim, the need might be different with the like this Bagmati province. That's why that research and development unit will address that particular need. That is main target of this unit.
Yeah, well, wonderfully thought. Like needs are different, and this individual R&D units can contribute to the local need. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that as well. I hope that's insightful for the audience that have joined in this program and also joining us live, and we'll also check the recorded version. So please watch out all this session. I think this session has been really important in terms of understanding what is happening in Nepal. I would like to get more question from the comment section. There's a question from San Dijon. As he is thanking all the speakers for their wonderful insights, and being a international participant, thank you for your question, for being so interactive. As professionals, how do we help the population adapt to these technologies? Like, it's not only about developing these technologies, but also adaptation is really important. How we can make sure that these technologies is applicable in local way, like especially those people whose work will be affected, like construction workers being replaced by robots. So how this will be adapted, how this won't affect the future generation. So I would target this question to one of our keynote speakers as well, since we saw a really comprehensive presentation from his side. If he is available here at the moment, Mangesh Lal sir. Mangesh sir, can you connect to this question as well?
Sure, Vikas. So, as I mentioned before, right, the adoption of technology is very important, right? So, based on that, as we see the new trends coming on, the evolution and adopting in the workforce and also to the social life is very important. With that, a lot of digital inclusion and also putting on the training and so on and so forth, and also the digital infrastructure for that is very important. Now, having said that, it's easier said than done. So that's why there's a cohesive requirement for investment, very much. So that's what we see as a requirement, and all the other economies, as you see, has been able to come front and take forward with a lot of investment into infrastructure, into human resources, into technologies, and also promoting that for even utilizing those technologies as well, right? So as you know, that technologies can be built, but if it's not utilized or applied, then it has no meaning. So I would say with that as well. But again, having said that, the trends are pulling those particular uses of the technologies as well. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's rightly answered to the question. I think I would like to also have insights from Mr. Parag on this particular issue. Like definitely, Ms. Geeta also mentioned, like, there's a lack of confidence in AI. There's a lots of people's head going around the unethical aspects of AI and robotics. So how do you think, like, how the population would be adapt to these technologies, and that can be a boon for us?
Yeah, so that's the million-dollar question in AI, right? So Sean Dijon, thanks for asking that. I mean, that's the whole the ethical conundrum, if you will, right? As we go about this, there is going to be a massive change. If we rewind back in the past and look at the early 1900s, right, where we were just coming out of being, a majority agricultural-based economy around the world and moving slowly towards industrialization, there was a massive upheaval at that time too, right? Given the context of that time, I mean, imagine, if you can imagine 100 years ago, people, all they knew was farming and agriculture, and now there's new industries and new modes of living, and but people adapted, right? That's what change is about. And when new things come, we gear up, we upskill, we reskill, and I think that's the key. the idea to instill learning continuously growing and changing. Now, then fast forward to the 60s and 70s and the 80s, where the internet and digitization happened. Now that was a different era too, right? So a lot of again new jobs was created, old jobs. So I think a change is inevitable. I think it's always been part of our evolution to innovate. And I think old ways of doing things will be replaced by new ways. 100 years ago, nobody thought that there would be a search engine optimization job, for example, right? And so for every old job that is going, there's maybe 10 new jobs creating, right? But with AI, it is there is that question there looming, because AI is supposed to do so much productivity wise that it will displace more than replace, at least for the short run, right? So I think the way to really approach this is again by having, and Gitaji said perfectly well, is public-private partnerships, stakeholders across the board. So we don't focus on one area and have a pocket of citizens really benefiting and everybody's left behind, right? So what are some of those programs that will maybe displace some of the, because I know there are countries that are exploring with minimum income for everybody. So everybody gets a certain amount of minimum income, and beyond that, you work for it. So maybe those type of programs, right? Ultimately, in my opinion, it's less about jobs for all, and maybe we can be bold to think about why do we actually have to work so much, right? The promise of technology should be to liberate us from this bondage of labor in a philosophical sense. So if we take a long timeline, then the promise of AI should really be where we are actually working less. We have more time with families, and we have more time to, and like the speaker from China said, we can actually choose to live where we want, do what we want, still be productive, contributing members of society, and actually not have to rely on work to only survive. And maybe that's the long tail of technology and the awareness, and trying to understand this new change, and without being too apprehensive, embracing it and really kind of being part of that solution. So maybe I rambled off a little bit on philosophy here, but that's
I think that gives the scene of how these developments are happening, and I think that's what sum up all the stories. So I would like to take two questions quick and move on to next session. So the first question, there's a question from Vivek Casey, like, rather than giving a free education, can we make a better modality around trainings that with money incentives for the enrollments? So one question, please make it a short note. And then there's another question from Rohan Raj, like the political parties are making smart cities as the only agenda. What is the role of private companies and tech enthusiasts like us in making cities like Kathmandu, Pokhara as a smart city? So please give your first questions view, and then I will direct this second question to maybe Andre, like Andre could give us a really good view on this second question.
Yeah, so just a quick one, Vivekji, thanks for bringing it up. We do have internship programs. We hire, we have massive internship programs where we take our interns to training. We obviously provide allowances for that. We hire graduates, graduating students. So we have a multitude of different programs where we provide opportunities to students, not only from an education perspective, but how to translate that into meaningful jobs and high-paying jobs, that we actually reverse the brain drain of Nepal, intelligent and hardworking people leaving Nepal and actually staying in Nepal and making a great life for them in Nepal. And that's one of our mission as well. So thanks for bringing it up. And we do have that programs to help us.
I have seen like this internship program, and also this Fuse Rust AI course that helps these new students come in and join these AI programs. And I think that is so exciting, and also deep, like when these AI students get enrolled, they have a really good understanding on how AI works. And I have seen those talents come through from their form as a caterpillar to butterfly. So yeah, that has been really remarkable. Andre, like, can you highlight the success stories there in China, how private sectors companies had played a role in making cities smart?
Well, yes, thank you so much for letting me chiming in a little bit. I definitely can't speak too much about on behalf of China, but I think the little bit experience overall what our foundations have with different countries, including Hong Kong. I mean, China and Hong Kong itself. I think technologies play a super important role in the private sector, as in understanding also not just how technology works, but also what kind of technology should be put in the right place for the right kind of people in right communities. That means understanding the social developments, understanding the demographies, understanding the challenges behind that particular communities, and how. And I don't really wish to be too demanding, but I believe the social challenges nowadays is so complicated that it takes everyone to be very much cross-disciplinary. Technologies can't simply say, it's not my problem, I only focus on technologies. Technologies have to also put their fingers and their mind into understanding the economics behind the technologies. Why some people just don't use particular technologies. They're usually, and they're always social behavior problems behind that. Why smart city is a very challenging term usually, because we have been seeing a lot of dividing problems. That means, we have seen a lot of, Benson just mentioned a lot about smart city in China, but at the same time, smart city development basically has been dividing the society, that is widening the poverty gap as well. So while we have been, after this session, then we have friends from TUSPARK and also, technologists sharing about their works. But I think on the other hand, we also have to brainstorm and also think about how to keep technologies affordable, to make sure it's not just for capital cities, but also for second tier and third tier cities to enjoy, and also to be accessible and inclusive as possible. It's a smart city at the end is not just a job of private sectors, but also very government and administrative. And echoing what the ministry representative mentioned, is a public-private partnership, and even more than that is public-private people partnership. The people would be very core element in the future.
Thank you for wonderfully putting the scenes over there, and also Good Cities Foundation's work in terms of bringing smart cities. And one work I really liked about Good City Foundation is helping next cities to be part of the major mega cities. And I like how Manila was selected as one of the cities as part of G20. And I think that helped Manila in terms of making their strategic plan and strategic directions to take their city's agenda into the smarter one. And thank you for connecting to the questions of Roshan Raj as well. So with this note, I would like to end this panel session. I would like to thank all the panelists for their wonderful remarks. I think that has been really insightful, and that gives the view that where we are in terms of robotics and AI and what's the preparation. And now I would like to move on to next session. Andre, Mr. Alvin has joined. Andre?
Yeah, sorry.
Mr. Alvin has joined.
Yeah, Alvin is here.
Okay, sure. That's great. So the next session
is move
is
into the speaker side. He's in the attendance right now.
Okay, sure. Let me check. Okay. Sorry, like it was late. Okay, we have connected him to the panel side. So the next session is Take for Good Cities Roadshow, investment for innovators. It's like good cities needs these innovators with their smart skill sets, and these innovators need to be supported. And I think when investments are there, then the work of the innovators, entrepreneurs grows up. And this session will be really wonderful in terms of understanding how investors from Hong Kong have their mindsets and how they invest. For today, we have Mr. Albin representing himself from To Spark, and that's really an honor for Robotics Association of Nepal and the whole Nepal for your presence. I would like to hand over this mic to you, and also for all the audience joined over here. I have another sad news that one of our presenter, Mr. Binay's relative, actually got expired today, and he was there in hospital. He was trying to join us, but somehow he could not make it. That's really sad news. With Mr. Albin, we would go to Mr. Krishna Chaudhary, CEO of Thoplo Machine, and then Mr. Akrit Dhungel, CEO of Kaicho Group, presenting their products. So over to you, Mr. Albin.
So thank you very much. It's my pleasure and honor to be here today. So I'm Alvin from TUSPARK. TUSPARK stands for Tsinghua University Science Park. So Tsinghua University is one of the so-called best universities in China or even Asia. In China, you know, like every year there are new unicorns coming up, and almost every year half of the unicorns came from either Beijing University or Tsinghua University. So we are one of the engine for innovation and technology in China. So it is my great pleasure to be able to share how like Nepal or the startups in Nepal could go into China and Hong Kong with you all, because obviously the entire ASEAN market is a very enticing one. A lot of startups in Hong Kong and China, they want to go into the Southeast Asian markets and Nepal. Some of them may want to go to Nepal because of the vibrant markets, because of the high potential, and because of the population. So for example, I think Nepal has around like 29 million, which is 4 times of Hong Kong. So in short, I would say, in China and in Hong Kong, like we're kind of like more developed. The good thing about it is, like you can find talents, you can find capitals easier maybe. But the downside is, the market is so saturated, and if you want to start a new business, there's almost certain there will be a giant there, or a market leader there. So I think Nepal is very interesting and intriguing, intriguing environments for Hong Kong startups to expand to. Because a lot of them lay their eyes on Malaysia, Singapore before, but obviously more people looking at Indonesia, Nepal, and Laos, or some other places that are, people are still understanding the potentials. So I think I knew that a lot of good things are happening in the markets. Like funds are more ready, new PE funds are setting up. Like some of the startups in Nepal are doing pretty well in recent years. So I look forward to understand a little bit more. And before I wrap it up, I think I might be, I might have forgotten, to explain a little bit more about what TUSPARK do. Actually, TUSPARK is, a full value chain innovation ecosystem, which covers incubation and acceleration, which covers venture capital, And we also have around like 20,000 startups in our database in over 160 locations worldwide. In Southeast Asia markets now, we have Thailand, we have Malaysia, we have Singapore, but we still are very actively looking at opportunities in the region. So we kind of like more focusing on growth stage startups around, angel round to A round startups, which are ready for their business model and they're looking for expansion. So like for us, like we do a lot of inbound and outbound China services to startups. So if anyone from Nepal is interested in knowing more about China markets, like we have 130 locations, which covers all provinces in China, and we can help startups to soft land there and to understand the business market. And of course, we have super good connections with all the regional governments, which will be a very essential part if you want to explore China markets. So I think that's something that I want to quickly share. Hope that's helpful, and it's my pleasure to be here to share with all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Alvin, for this wonderful sharing. I think TwoSpark can be one of the turning point for Nepal, because already 20,000 different startups on the database, and this full value chain ecosystem that has been built by TwoSpark seems a game changer. And for Nepal, who is just growing its startup ecosystem, and Nepal's startup trying to lift themselves up, trying to be unicorn of the world, I think connecting with TwoSpark makes a lot of sense. It should not be something we miss. So with this note, I would like to request two of our entrepreneurs who have joined us to describe, to showcase their product with their business plan and what are their expectations. And I think we will connect with Mr. Alvin later as well to take forward the conversation. So I would like to request Mr. Krishna Keshav to present his product and business plan. Thank you. You are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible now.
Okay. Hello, I'm Krishna from Machine, and I'm pleased to present about agromation and its functionality. I would like to thank Robotics of Nepal, RAN, and Rainmaking Nepal for giving me opportunity to talk about agromation. And obviously, thanks to all the brilliant people for joining this session. So let's start with the slide. So I'm going to present So are you ready? So let's start. The term agromation is composition of two words, that is agriculture and automation. Thus, agromation is a system where agriculture meets automation. In back late 2019, we established a company with a vision of automating Nepal, as the word Nepali and agriculture is more like synonymous, because almost 68% of total population work on 20% of cultivating land. The ratio of land to people is much less. Thus, we have to go for different approach than traditional farming. So we conclude for automating agriculture sector with the vision of making a system that care for plant health, affordable, crop friendly. We conclude for agromation with the goal of redefine the future of agriculture with tech. We come with the product agromation. Here, what are the existing problems? The main problem is immature technology, and lack of knowledge on how to act upon environmental parameter. If a device shows 403 ppm of carbon dioxide, farmer does not know how to react upon that data. Either this is less for any crop or high for any crop. Similarly, bioflux is more popular nowadays in Nepal, and you can see almost all of them provide proper oxygen, dissolved oxygen all the day. So what are our problem-solving approach? It is difficult to maintain. Yeah, we all know that it's difficult to maintain consistency and optimality of different environmental parameter, soil or water parameter for greenhouse. This is where agromation can help with the best solution for their remote monitoring and controlling by making use of the Internet of Things, that is IoT. Agromation take greenhouse condition off your mind and put it on your mobile. It's not only show the data, but also control different apparatus to keep the greenhouse in optimal condition according to the requirement. Thus, it take greenhouse. And as we can say, it keep the crop growing as healthy as hers. So what agromation does? As you can see here, this is the complete greenhouse system. A versatile wireless sensor system can help to monitor and control many parameters of greenhouse condition and environment. User can measure critical conditions such as temperature, humidity, light, air quality, soil moisture, and other 15 parameters. User can also measure system performance, whether the fan is running or not, whether the motor gives water or not. Then suppose any condition moves beyond preset sensor setting, then you will get notification on your mobile or in mail. Not only that, it automatically switch on of different load like fan, irrigation, window, and its roof too. As you can see here, it consists various number of sensor and actuator and load in order to control the environmental of greenhouse. It's also have inbuilt window controller, curtain controller, and roof controller. Let's see how this agromation works. As you can see here, the 20+ sensor data system keep a record of certain parameter of greenhouse through this sensor and continuously monitor those specifications at a regular interval. The idea not only extends the greenhouse cultivation process and productivity, but also reduce the investment of human effort and prevailing issue of great extent. Under ordinary condition, the system remain active, monitoring the climate condition, water condition, or environmental condition, and give that sense data to wireless gateway. Further that wireless gateway, the data is further saved to cloud, and you can view our mobile application, web application. User can also control the device through manually and automatically through mobile application or web application. So their point, why agromation? Because here we have 20+ sensor type, each with wireless connectivity facility supported almost all over in country. Like these all wireless device work on 400 to 900 megahertz. As you can see here in next picture, it's a mobile friendly system that all the greenhouse parameter, you can see that data upon mobile. As this system have two storage system, the data is stored locally on micro SD card and over an internet on cloud. So the data safety is concerned here, and each and every device is low power and long life. That is as per calculation, once a battery is fully charged, it can run up to 6 months of individual sensor. So who are our target audience? Like research and education institute, those who want to train their student with automation. This This product is also useful for commercial grow. Those who want to cultivate various type of plant and sell our market. This is also useful for retail garden or nursery because this do control of how the seed germination take place, and for other or general people too, like who want to do terrace farming. So who are our team? Obviously, Topolo Machine have almost 10 people. Out of them, a few are application developer, some of our electrical engineer with dedicated PCB, electrical or electronics engineer, and we too have mechanical team, which basically turn the vision into reality. So what's our current stage? Technically, as we have completed a mini greenhouse of 36 meters square for research and institutional purpose at Kantipur Engineering College and Acmin Engineering College in collaboration with Erasmus Mundus and Swan Space. We are in the finalization stage of a commercial greenhouse of around 1500 square meter in Surkhet, but due to COVID or lockdown, we had not finalized it. So this is our current status of greenhouse at Kantipur Engineering College. And this is our current stage for Surkhet greenhouse. Here we have almost completed a structure and electrical connectivity. And here are our product installation plan. There you can see here. In order to reduce the cost, we have to go for mass production. For mini greenhouse, it's a cost around 5 lakh. But if we go for mass production, the cost will decrease drastically. And we are also planning for decision-driven system that plan can send us what they need and when are they ready to get out of the greenhouse. Also, we need promotion for marketing and branding, and at last, collaboration in order to grow this agromation in huge, or we can say all over Nepal. So we need various government bodies, INGOs, and investors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna, for this wonderful product sharing. I think agro mission is also a change maker, can be a change maker in greenhouse technology in Nepal. And that's really wonderful how you have been able to embrace the use of IoT and integrating the sensors. So I would like to go to next presentation. Mr. Krishna, can you close this out? And then we will have a Q&A. Mr. Akrit, are you ready to present?
Yes, sure, I'm ready.
Okay, sure. Mr. Akrit is CEO of Kaicho Group, one of the group that has been functioning in Sudur Paschim, but has been delivering their product all over the Nepal, and they have also been able to deliver their product out of the country, the Pothi automatic egg incubator. So that's a really good job from Kaicho Group, and I'm really glad that how Kaicho Group has been functioning. Like in COVID-19, their active presence in building breathing devices, also sanitizing tunnels, that were really remarkable. So I would like to request Mr. Akrit to present his automatic egg incubator presentation, and we will go to the last end of the session.
Okay. Hello and namaste, everybody. Respected guest, speaker, and present members here. Thank you, Rainmaking Cities Nepal, especially Rain and Vikas Tai for the initiative. I'm really happy to speak about our work that we started just a year ago. As Nepalese entrepreneurs, are like really more really interested in agribusiness. So likewise, we thought about poultry farming, and poultry farming is really taking the lead in the sector. So going through something that can really impact the market and help more entrepreneurs to grow their business. we as a team at Kaizu Group started working at egg incubator machine. So we have given it name as a Pothi. Pothi is a typical and suitable Nepali name, which will be perfect for the Nepalese market. So I would like to present my slides. So, okay, I'm sharing my screen. So is my screen visible? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Pothi, yeah, automatic incubator machine. So in a summary, talking about the Pothi, it's originally made in Nepal, although its equipments are imported from other countries, but we are proud to say that it's made in Nepal. Talking about the facilities, it's equipped with an integrated monitoring system that I will talk in later slides. And the main feature we are highlighting here is it's cheaper than other machines available in the market that are exported from other countries. Like so, some projections I would like to do related to poultry sector. So, like UN, or I think UN has projected a 24% increase in poultry production over next decade. So, the average consumption of chicken meat in Nepal is 5.7 kg per person per year, and the registered poultry farm in Nepal is like 16,000 registered poultry farms in Nepal. So this is a huge sector to work upon, and it creates a more opportunity for entrepreneurs like us. So talking about the market in Nepal, so mainly the egg incubator machines are imported from either India, China, Germany, or other European countries. So like the market here of egg incubation machine is nearly to approximately 25 crore in Nepalese rupees. So like not including the big big poultry farms in Nepal. So like the increasing trend of poultry farm in Nepal projects the growing market for incubator machine too. So every poultry farm has to have their incubator machine to institute to operate. So like talking what makes us different from other machines is like we are cost effective. So I'm going to talk this about in the later slides. Like we are more cheaper than the other available products in the market, and we have integrated platform. Like we have used IoT to like really automate the system, and it's a proud for a Nepalese to have a Nepalese product. So you can see some images of Pothi at work. Like we have different models from ranging from a small machine to a big machine. So this is our dashboard for evaluating the real-time data of like temperature, humidity in the machine. And yeah, we can use this system in mobile or in a PC, and we can get a real-time data for the monitoring. So talking about some features, we are currently working on the range from 500 egg incubation to 5,000 egg incubations. And we have some real-time data, temperature, humidity, as I showed before. And of course, we have planned for Pothi Durgam, as there is a lack of electricity, like continuous electricity supply in the rural areas. So we have customized some Pothis into, we have added some solar and batteries backup for remote area. And we are of course providing 1-year warranty support. And the another unique feature is like if something happens in the system, then we can get SMS alert system in our mobile. So talking about the cost analysis, so I have projected some real data here. So truly total cost of manufacturing a small 500 capacity of egg machine is like 35,000 in Nepalese rupees, including all the raw materials and human resource. So similarly, we can see here the selling price for the same machine is 55,000. So we can calculate the profit here. So costing includes rent, salary, raw materials, marketing, delivery, and maintenance of the incubator. So manufacturing high capacity incubators will be ultimately cheaper with good marginal profit. So what are our future plans? So we are planning to reach up to almost 50% of small and medium-sized market in 3 years, and to work with 5 large-scale poultry farms which are located in Chitwan, Butwal, Kathmandu, and many more cities. Like they have the capacity of 10 to 15,000 eggs, including of chicken, ostrich, dog, turkey, and like we have projected it within 5 years. So we are planning to enlarge our production chain over the country. Like we are now operating at Tikapur, Kailali. So we are planning to expand in Kathmandu, Chitwan, and in Biratnagar. So our another main goal is to create a sense of need to use like made in Nepal product. Which will be ultimately contribution to a country. So what are our marketing strategy to compete against the imported products from the different countries? So we have set 3 categories for the marketing strategy in our company. So that will be digital engagement as usual, social media more effective, and direct marketing that we will visit the potential customer directly to their poultry farms and work with them. So these are some happy faces of our customer that we have delivered Pothi, and they are using and very happy. So what is our business model? So here you can see like business model. Our main motto is to promote Nepalese product and Nepalese entrepreneurs to grow within the country. So our main aim will be to explore with the help of word of mouth marketing through our efficient customer service. And talking about the break-even point in our business, like if we could sell 25 machines in the market, then we will reach our break-even point. So, and we have reached that very soon in the market. So, and another feature we have given to Nepalese entrepreneurs is a one-time payment or installment payment available. So you can pay directly at a time, or you can pay it in installment. And of course, increase in profit for every piece of machine sold. So I have projected the profit in the before slide. At so funding requirement, we are really seeking to get some funding for our project. So the total funding projected here is NRS 35 lakhs to like expand in Nepal in various places, as I told before, research and development to make our machine more efficient and more user friendly, and sustainable budget we have to operate for sure, and some marketing budget. So thank you. I have presented my slides. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akrit, for this wonderful sharing. I think I didn't have these details about Pothi. I just learned from the details you have shared from your social medias and your Facebook accounts. But what's really wonderful to learn, like how made in Nepal product like Pothi are being exposed to Nepali market and also to the international market. And I really like the mission, like 3 years. Capturing the 50% of a small and large market. That's really ambitious, and I think that's also possible. Like if we have a product like this with industrial grade, I think people are willing to pay. And as you already mentioned, like 55K is the selling price in the market, and you can chip in this product in a very low price, then I think everybody would love to have your product. There's no question that why wouldn't they get it? And also the production capacity is really great. I think Pothi is something that should be interesting to team at Tuspark. Unfortunately, Mr. Alvin has left because of his meeting, and also it's getting late in HK, Hong Kong. We tried to manage these time zones, US, Hong Kong, Nepal, and other countries. So, we have to make it a 6 to 9. but it's still like there's in other part of the world it's already getting late. So Mr. Andre is there who would be sharing a few of his questions and feedbacks to both of the presenter from BC perspective, and also give his shares from to Spark, like what they are thinking of in terms of how they would take this forward.
Sure. Thank you, Bikash. And I probably would take this chance to give a bit more words. Like overall, I really appreciate the organizing of the Robotics Association of Nepal and Bikash and all the organizers. I personally very much enjoy the conversation, especially the panel discussions, really insightful about, as a foreigner, how to get to know more about Nepal, especially through such an intellectual dialogue about policies, democratizing technologies, AI and robotics for building your own nation. It's not just for building the market, but also building up the brand and also the story and the image, identity of your own nation. I think it's very important to draw foreign investors and also to draw foreign partners to form partnership instead of simply attracting people just because the market cost is lower here in Nepal. But there are many much other value added in the market which Nepalese engineers and Nepalese technologists can offer. So I think that part is super important, both the many stakeholders and also to the two founders here who have just presented. Yeah, as Bikash mentioned, Melvin has just left. It's actually a very good friend of mine, so we can be always in touch for those who are interested, again, to get in touch with us in the Good City Foundation and also TUSPARK. Feel free to let Bikash and me know. Well, regarding the questions to the first company, we are very interested to know more about who are your financial collaborators. I mean, you have been. It seems like the scale of your technology currently have been capturing certain kind of data sets about agriculture, and we would be curious to know, besides providing software or providing hardware as a services, how are you dealing with the data? Are you also collaborating with any other financial institutions so as to provide other kind of financial products to the farmers? Is there any business model currently in terms of financialization of the data? That's my first question. I will have a second question to Akrik after the first founder answering the questions.
Krishna, can you answer to the Mr. Andre's question? I think you need to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yep. I can hear you, Krishna.
Hello? Hello, Andre.
Yeah, please go.
Okay.
Hey.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, basically for initial phase, we had designed the system using HTTP communication protocol, but later we came to software part with subscriber and publisher based system.
Okay. Well, my question is your technology or is your company now working with any financial institutions or sharing data to the bank so as to create any kind of products like agriculture insurance?
I'm still not getting clear.
Krishna, like Andre is asking, do we have financial partners to Thoplo machine? Like there's a work, green agro automation seems really optimistic. So is there a financial partner or financial institution that are already working with Thoplo machine?
Right now, we do not have any financial partnership, but one of our product or one of our very first mini scale greenhouse was built with collaboration with Erasmus Mundus and Sun Farm. But right now, we do not have any financial supporter. And yeah, we are willing to do so in order to bring our greenhouse or this agromatic in next stage, like enabling AI image processing for disease detection and crop condition of greenhouse. We need various type of financial help.
Sure. Thank you, Krishna. My second question for, sorry, Krishna, you have anything to add on?
Okay.
We can go to second question, Andre.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Akrit, thank you for sharing about the machine. It looks very interesting. We don't have that much in Hong Kong. Are those machines connected to each other? I mean, is it crowd-based? Can you share a bit more the technology values of the machine behind? I mean,
yes.
Yeah, how advanced is it currently?
Yeah, sure. The sensor node is not connected with any of through wire. That is, they work on mesh topology. Like when sensor want to send the data, the receiver section work as slave and all the sensor node work as master. But when the processor have to control the load or actuator, at that moment processor act as master and all the load processor act as slave. So that at that moment controller send the data for what whether to turn on or turn off the device. But at the time of receiving sensor data, the processor worked as a master. For like in backend section, our entire backend section is built using Python. And right now, this software or this IoT-based system communicate over MQTT protocol.
Thank you.
I hope that answers. Andre, any questions to Akrit?
Yeah, well, the same question go to Akrit. The machine for the eggs, are those machines like connected to each other over cloud? Is it cloud-based, and what kind of data values are being generated from the machines?
It's a completely cloud-based. At first, all the sensor data is gathered.
This question is directed to Akrit.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Thank you, Andre, for the question. I would like to tell that these machines are not interconnected to each other, but they have their own separate operating system, and they will show just two data, temperature and humidity in the machine, so that to ensure the good quality production of the chickens in the machine. So we have used ESP12E processor. We have used DST22 sensor and temperature sensor. It's some kind of like the hardware system is connected to the internet, but we have not connected these machines internally to each other. So that's the answer. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Akrit, and also Krishna, for sharing. I mean, we have a lot of audience here, so I don't want to stuck in too many questions. I have quite a few in my mind, but we definitely can bring it offline. We can talk more personally after the seminar today. And but for me, I'm overall very impressed with the entrepreneurship and also the dialogue we have so far. And I mean, on behalf of the foundation, we are definitely interested to collaborate further and also bring in more partners, not just thought leaders like Benson, but also Taspak and many others. I will pass the time back to Bikash, and would definitely love to follow up more conversation, especially with NAS and also with the ministries. Hopefully the resources can be bridged between Nepal and also Hong Kong, mainland China, to advocate and also support the development of technologies such as AI and robotics in Nepal. back to you, Vikash. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andre, for wonderfully sharing like what's the next step. So Good City Foundation is really interested to bring more these entrepreneurs to Hong Kong-based investors, and TUSPAC is really to create a mutual fund. So along with the support from ministry, it's like getting collaboration together and supporting the startups. And both there's Puthi and the agro automation, we would connect to TUSPAC and Good City Foundation, and we will have informal discussion going around. I think maybe I'm so excited and also hopeful that side to Nepali entrepreneurs, and that's really amazing. So besides these remarks, we are almost aware government is thinking and what entrepreneurs are doing. So from investment to innovators to market, so everything is there for robotics and AI on sections like groups. So I think that's really wonderful. I would take 2-3 questions here from the audience, and then we would go to the informal session, like we can continue our informal discussion. And before going to informal discussion, okay, no worries. Before going to informal session, I will make a final remarks as well. So I would check the questions, what are there. Okay, there's a question from one of our attendees. Using internet in agglomation, the sensor data would be vulnerable, hacked, or could be manipulated. How is agglomation planning to deal with this? Mr. Krishna, can you answer this?
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Krishna, we can hear you properly. You can answer the question.
Okay. Yeah, while designing the system, we had already kept these things in mind. At first, we do secure communication over HTTPS protocol. And second, we are using various type of API key and a fingerprint in order to secure the data from this sender into receiver end. Thank you.
Thank you so much for wonderful answering this. There's another question like, is there a provision to take more enthusiasts into the agglomation group? Shishir has been asking this question for a while. Yeah, please answer this as well. From Akrit, like, can you answer that question?
Yes, sure. We will love to work with enthusiastic people together. And yeah, I'll drop the email and phone number in the chat box, and you can connect with me and we'll talk over the phone or the email.
That looks good. So with this, I think I will wrap up the whole rainmaking series Nepal, robotics and AI in the world of digitization, digital Nepal. I think this session was really interesting because we from Robotics Association of Nepal, we never had these kinds of session where we focused on what's in there for the government, what private sectors are doing, what entrepreneurs are thinking of, how can we democratize robotics and AI, and also having a really interactive audience from 6 to 9 is really wonderful. Like, I'm so glad, and my team who worked really hard, I would like to appreciate their effort. Everyone's effort is really appreciated. Everyone here, Rishabh Raj, Samiksha, Ravi Raj, Omkar, and then Raut, everyone involved here. I'm so thankful to them, Manoj, Utsav, and I'm thankful to Andre, Good City Foundation, for always being open to collaboration and also bringing global resources to Nepal. We have been talking for a while, and we have been thinking how we can leverage this global network which has resources of experts, investments, value chain understanding, systematic understanding, so a lot of them. So it was so great to organize this rainmaking series Nepal, and I have been honored to be part of other rainmaking series that are happening in Indonesia, Cambodia, Canada, Hong Kong, India, and other countries. So that has been really amazing. Though we could not connect more of this Nepali audience to these global sessions, but you can always go to the Good City Foundation's website and you can check in like other events that are happening and also get the insight of what's happening in the other part of the world, what's the major issue. I think Mr. Benson's presentation was really mind-blowing to all the Nepali audience and panelists over here, because that was really well thought and futuristic. Mega cities, mega trends that are happening in the world. That was really wonderful. And guest speaker sessions, Ganesh, yeah, sorry, Ganesh sir's always supporting us. His event chair remark was wonderful. Sunil Babu sir's commitment to promoting technology and AI here in Nepal is also really wonderful. I'm really glad that keynote speaker made it today. Princess Alia Pandolfi, they are coming to Nepal, and you will see one of the biggest drones coming to Nepal, and I hope that will be a big news for us in terms of collaborating with this global resources. And also to Mangesh, the Mangesh Dai, one of our mentor, from FNCCI, he is prioritizing robotics and AI for the development of this digital Nepal. And for robotics community as a leading organization in robotics and AI, I think that's a really good news. One of the lacking thing in Nepal is the private investment, and we need to understand what private sector is thinking of, how they are planning to embrace the new changes of technology. And Mangesh Thai wonderfully presented the vision of FNCCI, Digital Nepal, and what are the mega global trends. So that was really wonderful. All the panelists, I think there were lots of insights in terms of how we could democratize robotics and AI, and how ministry is making the action plan in terms of empowering this research and development enthusiasts. Opening up R&D units in municipal level would be also a game changer. And finally, I'm thankful to all the presenters. I think that was so passionate presentation about their product, and I think that was also good to hear to all the audience. Like, Nepali entrepreneurs have the capacity to build local products that can go to the global stage and also can capture the market in the developing countries. So that was really wonderful. And Ganesh, I can see Ganesh sir here as well as the event chair of this event. Ganesh sir, I would like to request for your closing remarks, and we will close this session. We will share all the recordings to you, to those who were not able to participate in this event. And we are sharing the report from this event to Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, NAST themselves as well, so that these kinds of discussions could have an action plan and also give a sense to what's happening in the spectrum of robotics and AI. Ganesh sir, for your final remarks, we are looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you, Vikas. Thank you everybody for listening for such a long time, 3 hours, more than 3 hours presentations. So first of all, I like to thank all the participants, all the keynote speakers, panelists, and the presenters. First of all, I would like to draw the attention of all our keynote speakers who has made that how Nepal should go for a digital transformation. And our international friends have empathized, especially what will the future cities. a livable city, a sustainable city, all these things, you see. So how we are going to cope, you see, when I say from the digital perspective and the emerging technology, we see that the world is digitally divided, or we are less digitally ready. So when the Mangesh put the question, Nepal government, digital Nepal framework, the Ministry Science, Technology, Innovation Policies, our chief guest, Nast BC, the opening as a chief guest remarks. All this show that Nepal is having a good commitment towards the development of the digital technology, promoting going towards the digital economy. But we have a lot of hindrances also, like the infrastructure, technology transfer, collaboration, cooperation, human resources development. So this program certainly, which is recorded, will slowly go into all these matters and will go forward. What are the recommendation? I think after all these, you should sit and try to find out the recommendations, and according to that recommendation, let us move forward. Second was, there's a very good panel discussions about this. All these panel discussions has shown what are our comparative advantage. Can the Nepal, China is making the thousands smart cities. Nepal also sometimes talks about the 3 cities, 12 cities, I don't know. But whether we are equipped for that or not. When I say for this, I all the time that we are doing less preparatory works. So this program will certainly help us doing some preparatory works or homeworks is also the second thing. Lastly, the innovators, the good ideas, agro-machineries, Poti, where they are talking about the innovations. I think the investment in this sector is necessary. I think one of the program very recently was held where the minister told that Nepal will be hosting the investment summit on the IT industries or digital economy investments. So I thanks everybody for being so passionate of listening, learn, presenting, and staying with all. So I really wish all of you a very good health, stay safe, be positive, be constructive, and let us have a very, very good collaboration, because now you can do your teaching, learning, other things also online. So this opportunity is open. So let us use this digital advantage. I say now we have a very digital advantage time. Sometimes certainly we have our problems with the internet. I think we have now less problem with our electricity. Sometimes internet problems, sometimes others. But in spite of all these things, I still want to be making patches, especially with our young generation, that you generation are lucky enough that you are living in the digital age. In our time, we don't have this type of advantage. So you should make the advantage of this digital technology. At the same time, you see, they're talking how much population is living in the urban areas. I think Nepal is also is going to be one of the very fast urbanizing country. So in the urbanizing country, there is a lot of infrastructures like mobility, water supply, sanitation, hygiene, solid waste management, so many things, you see, like digital infrastructure. So I think these teams should work on the how you are going to make your city a livable city, sustainable city, and what I say, a city with the fresh air sometimes, you see. So all these things, I wish everybody a good luck. Have a nice days. Be creative. Wishing all the best. With these remarks, it is going to be late in the different parts, even it is going to be late in Nepal, you see, because doctors say now you should sleep more during the pandemic. So I wish everybody good health. And with these remarks, I was, because you don't have any notice or announcement you can make, but from my side, I again thank you for giving me this opportunity to chair this session, because I feel in my life all the time privileged, honor, and a feeling of happiness sometimes, you see, that I feel happy when I see young generation being innovative. You see, so salam or salute to our young generation who are doing all these innovative jobs. Please keep on all these things. As I say in Hindi, lage raho munna bhai, keep on going, don't be harassed. There's still good.
Yeah, thank you so much.
In the coming days. Vikas, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, Ganesh sir, for being with us for the entire session and listening to all the presenters and their work, panelists, keynote speakers. I would like to request all of the participants and audience panelists here to open their videos on, so that we can capture this final moment. So we are less in number, but your presence is really valuable to us. So please open your video on, and we will take a photo and then close this session with this all smiling faces. Thank you. Okay.
So 1, 2, 3. Quick, cameraman, go, bhai.
Cameraman, mai ho, sir. I'm taking it out.
1, 2, 3, honey.
Okay, la.
हाँस्ने भनेर थाहा पाउने
मनिलामा भाइले कति बज्यो?
What's the time in Manila? Landison? Wait for a while. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, this is safe. Thank you everyone for joining in. Wonderful. This all you can share if you want. It's now your time. We are on the informal session.
Lo, Bikasi, बिदा ल्याऊ.
हुन्छ सर, मजाले.
Last Bikasi, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sashi sir, also being